However, when he took the witness stand last year, he completely contradicted his statement, accusing the police of intimidation and saying he is illiterate and did not understand what he was signing. The witness says while he did transport accused number 1 and 2 other people, he was paid 7,000 rand and not the $30,000 quoted in the police statement. Under cross-examination by the prosecutor, the witness admitted he had been coming to court using a car belonging to the mother of the accused siblings, Froliana and Ndilinasho Joseph. The court will make a ruling today on whether the statement he gave to police can be admitted as evidence in the main trial. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
Meanwhile, Action SA leader Herman Mashaba says his party will not relent in ensuring President Cyril Ramaphosa is held accountable for the possession of the US dollars that were hidden in furniture at his farm in 2020. The party is gearing up for a legal challenge to a top secret report on police conduct in chasing after the stolen money. The party says 2026 is the year it will intensify its anti-corruption efforts, starting with a whistleblowers bill it unveiled in Parliament yesterday. Lindsay Dentlinga reports.
Despite being cleared of misconduct by investigations of the Public Protector and the Reserve Bank, Action SA leader Herman Mashaba says the almost 6-year-old Phala Phala saga is an embarrassment to the GNU, the country and the fight against corruption.
Phala Phala is going to remain a matter that this country is going to discuss until such time that we know how that money came into mattresses in the president's house.
He alleges Ramaphosa is being shielded in the Phala Phala matter by former opposition parties which previously were vocal on the matter but now form part of the government of national unity.
We are not going to let this matter the rest. We know some of the parties who are now enjoying international travel and blue lights are saying they will protect Phala Phala.
Yesterday, Action SA introduced a bill that seeks to better protect whistleblowers and to offer incentives for their disclosures. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
Former Presidents Jacob Zuma and Thabo Mbeki will this morning make a formal application for the recusal of TRC Commission of Inquiry Chairperson Justice Sisi Khampepe. The application comes after both men expressed their disapproval of Khampepe's involvement in the commission. Khampepe was last year appointed alongside 2 other commissioners by the President to head up the commission. The TRC Commission is tasked with investigating the cause of the delays in prosecuting apartheid-era crimes amid allegations of political interference and deliberate delays. Khomoso Modise reports.
In what can be described as a rare sight, former Presidents Jacob Zuma and Thabo Mbeki will form a tag team this morning in their bid to have Justice Sisi Khampepe removed as chair of the TRC Commission of Inquiry. One of the main complaints they have about her involvement is the fact that she was one of the commissioners in the initial Truth and Reconciliation Commission's hearing in the 1990s. They've also pointed out that Khampepe was the Deputy National Director of Public Prosecutions, claiming a conflict because the NPA was tasked to prosecute the crimes. But Zuma takes it a step further, claiming Khampepe has a vendetta against him as she delivered the constitutional judgment that sent him to prison in 2021. The recusal application will be heard by the panel this morning. Khomoso Modise, Eyewitness News.
And the United Nations has warned that food aid in Sudan is set to run out by the end of March unless new funding is secured, raising fears for millions caught up in the world's largest hunger crisis. Nearly 3 years of fighting between the army and paramilitary rapid support forces have left tens of thousands of people dead, 11 million displaced, and repeated attempts at peace blocked. Efforts led by the US and regional mediators, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates have failed to secure a ceasefire as both sides wrestle for territorial gain. UN High Commissioner for Human Rights Volker Turk says the situation continues to be dire.
They don't have enough settlements for those who got internally displaced, some of them many times. There's no proper solution for the women who have suffered sexual violence because the space is not there. There is not enough attention paid to people with disabilities. But
Gold is trading at $4,616.66 an ounce. The rand is at 16.33 to the dollar, 21.87 to the pound, 18.98 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $66.52 a barrel.
And in the traffic, most incidents and roadworks that were causing delays earlier on have been cleared. But please be mindful of faulty traffic lights at several junctions like in Sandton at the M1 and Greyston Drive, as well as in Edenville at Modderfontein and Van Riebeck, bound to cause some issues. And of course, if you are traveling in the city of Tshwane, be on the lookout for some delays, a slight backup really on the N1 North approaching the Flying Saucer turnoff.
A cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng with scattered showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 26 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: the Mudimole Regional Court in Limpopo is expected to hand down a ruling today on the trial within a trial in the Phala Phala matter.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Nine minutes after 9 o'clock, Dumelang. Happy Friday. Welcome to the show. I trust you are good this morning and that you've had a wonderful, wonderful week so far. Every Friday, we do the 702 Open Line Gratitude Friday. So this is where you can call us or send us a WhatsApp voice note to tell us what you are grateful for this week. What happened this week that filled your heart and made you happy? 011-883-0702. That's the number you can call on. You can send your WhatsApps as well on 072-702-1702. My goodness, the news cycle is crazy, hey? There's so much to talk about. Take your pick. The head of crime intelligence, Dumisani Khumalo, alleged yesterday that nearly all police members in Gauteng are working with criminal cartels. Do you understand how crazy that is? Nearly all police members in Gauteng are working with criminal cartels. He said that this is when he was testifying before Parliament's ad hoc committee investigating allegations of corruption and interference in the criminal justice system. He also said there are highly trained combat members of the SAPS in Gauteng who are moonlighting, working for syndicates outside of their official hours. These are serious revelations. He says that there was an assessment that was made, and that's when they realized that almost all members of the SAPS in the province are compromised. And look, I know he probably meant not all of them, because he says almost all. So I don't know if he means that almost all of them, or if he meant almost all of the officers they assessed as crime intelligence. Because there are thousands of officers in the Gauteng province alone. And maybe crime intelligence was looking at a particular group of officers, and that's what he's referring to. But from what we heard yesterday, he seemed to suggest that almost all of the SAPS members in Gauteng are compromised. Or do you think that he could be referring to a group of SAPS members and not the entire service members in the province? This is a very, very serious claim to make, and it's got huge implications. And if indeed this is the case, then you are on your own, my friends. You are. And maybe that then explains a lot. Maybe it explains why we've had the experiences we've had with crime in this province. Maybe it explains why there have been reports of people who are engaged in criminal activities, but they never end up in jail because they work with the SAPS members. This has serious implications. How do you stop and respect the authority of the men and women in blue in this province when you are being told that almost all of them work with cartels? How do I know who is an honest officer and who is not? How do I trust that this is an officer who just wants to do their job when they stop me on the road? How? And if really this is the case, what General Khumalo said yesterday, that all these SAPS members who were assessed were found to be working with cartels, are they being investigated? And I guess some of this could make sense because it rots from the head, right? There have been serious allegations made against the Gauteng head of organized crime, Major General Richard Shibiri, over his alleged links with criminal cartels. Why is he still on the job? Khumalo says investigations against him are at an advanced stage, but he's still on the job. Could he not be precautionary suspended? The officers that General Khumalo says moonlight for the syndicates, have they been charged? What's the point of hearing all of this shocking and disturbing evidence, which actually reveals how vulnerable we are as citizens, if there is no action taken to make amends? What do you think of what General Khumalo said? By the way, we contacted the Gauteng National Police Commissioner, Lieutenant General Mtombeni, to join us to respond to what General Khumalo said. And he didn't want to do the interview, but he denied what Khumalo said. He told us that there is no official document that they received as the SAPS in Gauteng about such an analysis showing almost all SAPS officers in Gauteng are working with cartels. And he says if those are picked up, he says if such an analysis was made, he would have known about it. He also raised issues with the fact that General Khumalo has not given them the details of the officers whom he claims work with the cartels. Let me know your thoughts. Give me a call or send me a WhatsApp voice note. And then this bet on the DA, or in the DA. Has the DA been captured by the ANC? Has it been captured by criminal elements? That's what the former minister, Dion George, believes. He announced yesterday his resignation from the DA. I mean, it's obvious that he jumped before he was pushed. They were coming for him. But this fight has really been ridiculous. I mean, John and Dion have been throwing dirt at each other. And it all started when Dion George was fired as Minister of Environment and Fisheries at the request of Steenhuisen. Steenhuisen accused George of various missteps, including racism, bullying, sexual assault, during his time as Minister of Environment. On the other hand, George accused Steenhuisen of misusing the party's credit card. Steenhuisen's own finances have been in the limelight. Remember, the Daily Maverick had revealed that there was a default judgment, in fact, that had been issued against him in May last year for failing to pay over 150,000 rand in credit card debt. In fact, Dion George, yesterday when he announced his resignation, said Steenhuisen's personal financial vulnerabilities leaves the DA with a leader who cannot challenge the ANC in the GNU. So he says Steenhuisen is financially compromised. But the other allegations that he's made against Steenhuisen, and this is happening as the DA prepares for its elective conference in April. What impact do you think this bet has on the DA and on John Steenhuisen? Because News 24 is reporting this morning that Steenhuisen will run for re-election as leader in April. And what Dion was saying yesterday was, I don't know, DA, if this is the kind of leader that you want. What do you think of that? And I'm also interested in your thoughts around what happened in the U.S. because the president, Donald Trump, has got that Nobel Peace Prize he has long been desperate for. But unfortunately, he's not a laureate. He met with the Venezuelan opposition leader, Maria Machado, in the Oval Office yesterday, during which she presented the president with her Nobel Peace Prize in recognition and honor of Trump's quote-unquote help for the Venezuelan people. And President Trump took the Nobel Peace Prize. He didn't say, oh, thank you, but you keep it, Maria, because you were on the ground and fighting the regime of Nicolas Maduro. Thank you for the honor, but you deserve this Nobel Peace Prize. No, he didn't. He took it because he's always believed that he deserves it. Remember these moments?
They will never give me a Nobel Peace Prize. I think I'm going to get a Nobel Prize for a lot of things if they gave it out fairly, which they don't. I can't think of anybody in history that should get the Nobel Prize more than me.
He's always wanted it, right? And by the way, the prize can change owners, but it can be shared or transferred. And I wonder if you've ever claimed what belongs to somebody else. Have you ever claimed something that doesn't really belong to you or wasn't given to you? Or maybe you've witnessed someone who claims and takes ownership of what doesn't belong to them. Share your thoughts with us. 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. Between 10 and 11 o'clock, we're going to do the Across the Desk feature. And today I'm hosting plastic surgeons. And I wonder if you have ever used their services, whether reconstructive or aesthetic plastic surgery. They're going to tell us more about their work between 10 and 11 o'clock. If you've got some questions, get them ready. At 11 o'clock, we do our relationship and sex feature. Today, we're discussing a sex menu and whether it does work. So a sex menu is a list of one's sexual preferences, likes, dislikes, and the things to try. And relationship experts actually say that it can have a positive impact on your sex life and overall relationship. So we're going to talk about that on our relationship feature at 11 o'clock. It's Adult Radio. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Morning, Clement. Morning, 72 Landers. Simpiwe from Midday. Grateful for the family that I have, and more especially seeing my daughter going to high school, starting her first day in high school. It has been one of the greatest things that I've seen so far, besides her being born. But yeah, I'm grateful that the Lord has kept her and kept us to this point.
Wow, that's amazing, and we wish her all the best as she starts this new journey.
Good morning, Clement. Happy Friday. Today, I just want to share my appreciation for my husband. He's so caring, so thoughtful, so gentle, so kind, so quick to forgive. He is such a wonderful man, and I really appreciate him. We've been married for almost 7 years now, and I am excited to continue this life journey with him, and I pray that God blesses our marriage and our kids. Thank you, Kia from Pretoria. His name is Tumelo Manaiwa.
Tumza the lover. That's beautiful to hear, and I wish you guys all the best in your marriage. It's 20 minutes after.
Morning, Clement. What filled my heart this week is actually two things. The first one, I got my mother, who is 83 years old. I got her a full-time helper who's going to stay at home with her, on a full-time basis. Clement, that just fills my heart. My mother works so hard. She's done the best that she could as a mother for us. And she is now getting weak, So it used to pain me to go home. And she didn't have somebody full-time. She had somebody who was not full-time, but now she's going to have somebody who's going to be there full-time. So that fills my heart.
Oh, perfect.
But the most important thing, which is the second thing today, is my daughter's birthday. My one and only daughter, the apple of my eye. My daughter who has made me so proud as a parent and in whom I'm well pleased. Thanks, Clement. From Madrid.
Happy birthday to your daughter.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
Good morning, Clement. Police officers are corrupt. We've been saying this for I don't know how many years. You remember about 15 years ago when they were saying there's 1,500 police officers who've got criminal records and nobody did anything about it. I know somebody will call in and say, oh, not all police officers are corrupt, but let me tell you something. The corrupt ones are getting more and more, and those who are not corrupt are becoming lesser and lesser. Because you don't recruit a police that is corrupt to be a good police, but you could recruit a good police to be a corrupt police, if you know what I mean. Let's deal with the numbers now, Clement. Now, because it's been said by the general, nobody's disputing it. Because the general says more and more police officers, and majority of them in Gauteng, are corrupt with these cartels. Now people are starting to believe. And Clement, deal with this issue of journalists that are corrupt. I've never heard you deal with them decisively.
Which journalist is corrupt? Please maybe call us or send a WhatsApp and tell us which journalist specifically you're talking about. I would comment about that. I hold no favor for anybody. I mean, I'm colleagues with some. I would like to believe that if it's found that I'm a corrupt journalist or broadcaster, I hope my colleagues will call me out. Yeah? And if there is a journalist I know is corrupt, who is exposed to be that, oh, trust me, definitely. I'll talk about it, because I think that compromises the industry. It does compromise what other honest journalists are doing, who are trying to stay true to their job and just do their job. So maybe give me more information what you're talking about, my brother, so we can engage on that.
Hi, Clement. This is Sole. I think we've been on our own for a long time. We should wonder why a lot of the highly connected people, for some reason, get away from the criminal justice system. It's because they're protected. But we should also be wondering if all these policemen are involved with the criminal networks, is it out of greed, or are many of them being threatened, maybe blackmailed, compromised? Is somebody saying, listen, if you don't do this, we know where your kids go to school, where your wife works, etc., etc., and this is what is going to happen to you. I think that a space should be opened for policemen to come into a protected space and tell us what is going on.
Good morning, Clement. Regarding this issue of police officers around Gauteng, I stay in Berea. I have seen it. It is true, Clement, the corruption, if you come to Hebrew police station. Early in the morning, those vans, they arrest those undocumented foreign nationals. Each person is being charged 1.5. I'm not sure if this money goes to the government.
Yeah. So what do we do then? I mean, that leaves us vulnerable. If there are so many police officers, I mean, I don't believe that every police officer is corrupt. I don't believe, similarly, like I don't believe every member of the public service is lazy or is rude, like some perceptions that exist. But what do we do when an official who is the head of crime intelligence says on a public platform that almost all, in fact, I must find you that clip of Dumisani Kumalo, for some of you that may not have heard what he said yesterday in Parliament. Take a listen.
Support that the PKTT gave to the GCI ops. It was a one-day operation when the combat teams had to come in. The reason for that, during the analysis and the threat and risk assessment, it had come out that almost the whole of SAPS in Gauteng is working for the cartel. So hence then we had to get the combat team even from the PKTT, and even the special task force that we used for that operation was not from Gauteng province, but was from outside Gauteng province. That is the operation of the 6th. So the PKTT suffered and is still suffering for that assistance of 2.5 weeks and 1 day, which raised a wrong impression that PKTT is investigating the cartel. PKTT came in to assist.
Just a moment, General. Honorable James.
Chair, I almost fell off my chair now. Did I hear the General correctly when he said an analysis was done and you found that almost the entire Gauteng SAPS was working for the cartel? Just clarify that statement, please.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. We say that because whatever that we were doing in now this covert operation will find its way to the very same cartel. That is from the resources. I think even the vehicles were all over the social media. The vehicles with registration plates that were used by the team. So as the team is working, they are going to courts and to police stations. So where they are, and then they are, then whatever that they are doing is given to the cartel members. We had collected a lot of information and identified a lot of members from within. Maybe let me make an example of the uniform combat teams. There is this, what is happening in Gauteng, where the highly trained combat members of SAPS are moonlighting for the cartels. In other words, working outside their working hours. It happened to the team, I think, on 2 occasions when they are moving with the combat teams from Gauteng. They get to a cartel member, and then the member will ask, "Hey, what are you doing here? Because you were with me last weekend, working for me." So
you see, so what I'm asking is, how do we respect men and women in blue when we hear that? Like, I struggle with that. Like, how, if I'm told almost all of them work for the cartels, how do I show respect to the men and women? How do I know who's an honest officer, who's not? So when they stop me on the road, do I just oblige, like, and they're being weird, and who do I trust? If I'm stopped at night, I mean, I know how many times some of you have called and said, you don't trust anybody now at night. You drive towards a garage, a petrol station, or you drive towards a police station, they would rather follow you. What do we do when this is what we're being told by the senior officers in the SAPS? It's 9:31. It's so high.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Action SA's mayoral candidate for Ekurhuleni Xolani Khumalo is set to hand himself over to police regarding assault charges against him. Police have reportedly been looking for Khumalo in Katlehong for allegedly beating a man last month. Action SA has released a statement this morning saying on the day of the alleged incident, Khumalo was indeed present during a police operation where a suspected drug dealer's home was raided. Former Presidents Jacob Zuma and Thabo Mbeki will this morning make a formal application for the recusal of TRC Commission of Inquiry Chairperson Justice Sisi Khampepe. The application comes after both men expressed their disapproval of Khampepe's involvement in the commission. Khampepe was last year appointed alongside 2 other commissioners by President Cyril Ramaphosa to head up the commission. And South Korea's impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol will be jailed for 5 years over abuse of power power, obstructing justice and falsifying documents in relation to his failed martial law bid in 2024. This is the first of the verdicts in 4 trials linked to his shock martial law decree. Those are the headlines this EWN, and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
While travelling in Bedfordview, we've got an accident on the N3 North. It's right at the Kilulis interchange and is causing delays. Please be on the lookout there. While travelling on the N12 as well as the R24 West towards the Kilulis, we've got delays there due to that very accident scene on Lucas. They are causing those delays. If you're travelling around this area, please keep it moving. And then if you are in the Amalgam and Main Reef areas, we do have delays on the M2 West towards the Main Reef Road, as well as on Main Reef Road in south towards Albertina Sisulu off-ramp. Please be on the lookout there and continue driving with care. Otherwise, in the city of Tshwane, we've got some issues reported along the N1 North towards the Flying Saucer turn-off. Please be on the lookout there. And traffic lights are out of order in Centurion at the R101 and Brackfontein Road, as well as on the N1 and Sefakomakhato Road. Please approach with care. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings,
4 to 6.
Can you change a tire?
I was going to say no, and then I heard the comments, and I was like, ooh, should I keep that to myself?
But can you though?
Goodness.
Or not?
No. I'd have to YouTube it.
Oh my word. Do you have one of those plans with an insurance company that if your tires burst, you just call somebody and wait on the side of the road?
Yeah, there's a button I press on the app.
Oh my word. Okay.
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
The pain of losing a loved one is never easy. It will leave you feeling overwhelmed. At Clientele, we understand that burying loved ones with dignity truly matters. Our funeral plans pay out cash within just 24 hours, and you receive 200 Rand airtime when you claim to make those important calls. Plus, we cover up to 13 people on one plan. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Mzansi, Powerball has reached a mega 165 million Rand estimated jackpot this Friday. That's one of the highest jackpots to hit the country. Play Powerball for an estimated 165 million Rand jackpot today for your chance at greatness. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529 hash for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. eTuba is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
LLB graduates can fast-track their legal career with the Law Society of South Africa's PVT School for Legal Practice. LPC accredited, this 4-month practice-ready course, which is taught by practicing lawyers, can reduce your PVT contract by 12 months for admission. Study by day, after hours, or via distance at campuses nationwide. The first 2026 intake runs from January to April. Applications close 31 October 2025. Apply now at lssalead.org.za. That's lssalead.org.za.
To all road users, drivers, passengers, and pedestrians, let us stay safe on our roads. Let us respect the law and the moral responsibility we all share to do what is right. Don't drink and drive. Don't drink and jaywalk. And remember, the road is not a stage for influencers or content creators. Let this season be a time of celebration and family, not sadness and road deaths. Brought to you by the Department of Transport, moving South Africa forward.
702 was in conversation with Nedbank CIB to discuss unlocking South Africa's potential through infrastructure and industrial renewal. Here's what you missed.
For us at Nedbank, we see it as a driver for economic outcomes. So it's not just a theory. In 2025 at Nedbank, we've seen how capital allocation decisions are being shaped by infrastructure performance, and we're encouraged by the legislative reforms which support the crowding in of private sector investment in infrastructure. Following what we've seen in energy and Eskom, we're really excited about the announcements that government has made around transport and Transnet, and we actually really believe that we as South Africa, and potentially the continent, are on the cusp of the largest real reform program in the century, which is really aimed at revitalizing the transport and logistics sector.
702 in conversation with Nedbank CIB. Listen to the full podcast and more on primemediaplus.com.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
23 minutes before 10 o'clock. Let's go back to your calls on 011-883-0702. Mbija, JD, Stan, I see your calls on the SAPS in Gauteng and what General Khumalo had to say. I'll start with your calls in a moment. I've also been asking you about the spat in the Democratic Alliance and whether you think it will impact the party or, at the very least, John Steenhuisen, because it seems like he's going to be running again for leader of the party at the elective conference in April.
Goeiemorgen, Clemmy, and your team there, man. Flores here from the beautiful Western Cape. Clemmy, this whole saga with Dion George resigning before he could even go to disciplinary hearing. But then again, why are some of the most prominent leaders of the DA so tight-lipped? And if Dion George knew that there was wrongdoing from John Steenhuisen's side, why did he not call it out when it happened? That makes him an accomplice as well. But let me tell you, this race is going to be very interested when they have their election conference. Have a good time. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I've asked this very question last year. I said, Dion George, why are you only revealing this to the public now about John's abuse of the party's credit card? But also, similarly so, John Steenhuisen, why are you only revealing the complaints against Dion George from some of his staff members, including complaints of sexual harassment now that you guys are fighting? And I'm not saying that those must not be taken seriously, but take it with a pinch of salt, because they're not exposing each other because they're interested in the rule of law, they're interested in morality, they're interested in ethical leadership. They're doing it because this is weapon. They're using that as weapons against each other. And that is really, really disappointing. And I even said last year, what irritates me the most is when politicians start using sexual violence as a weapon. That is not something we should ever weaponize. But it's become such an easy way to go after people, hey? Isn't it? Let's be honest, it is. If you stand up there and says, Clement assaulted me sexually, that becomes like a thing. There's not, and there was a time as a society where we got to a point where we can't even question that. We can't even say, what do you mean? Okay. Because there was a question that was popular. Do you believe her? And if you say no, you must be cancelled. And I know, don't get me wrong here, I understand the nuance here of how difficult it is for people to go out and reveal that they have been assaulted. I do. But I'm saying we've got politicians. It happened even in parliament where someone accused Julius Malema of beating up his wife. With what evidence? There wasn't any. But you jump to what? People were now calling on Malema to be cancelled because we are at a point where we can't question. And equally so, sexual violence has been used like that. Cyril Ramaphosa has been accused of that. There are many politicians who have. Why? Because it's become a cheap thing to throw, because you know society is going to pick it up, because it's such a serious thing that most of us are united against. And that is so sad, that sexual violence can be used as a weapon like that. And there are people who know how powerful of a weapon it is, and they use it. If someone has complained about Dion George sexually assaulting them, that matter must have been dealt with immediately. It's not a matter that you expose to the public when you are fighting with Dion George. And that's how disappointing these politicians are. I've asked you about Donald Trump, who has now taken this Nobel Peace Prize from Maria Machado. He didn't even say to Maria, no, you keep it because you worked hard and you were abused when you were challenging the authority of the regime of Nicolas Maduro. He took it because he's always believed that if there's one man who thinks he must get a Nobel Peace Prize, it's himself.
Good morning, Clement and team. I've witnessed ambitious entertainment claiming MT's MTN awards after dropping the Roll Up album. That was said that was just sad because he's the one who put in the work, and to have a recording label to claiming those awards after the actual ceremony, it was not on.
Morning, Mr. Manyathela, sir. So the funniest and the most embarrassing moment that actually I've ever experienced is the time Kanye West took an award which was it was going to Taylor Swift, and he said Beyonce deserves it. Yeah, that was the moment for me. I keep on remembering that day actually. So it's like it happened yesterday. So yeah, you know.
Yeah, I remember that moment very, very, very well. So claiming things that don't really belong to you. In fact, have you ever thought about Maria Machado and whether or not she's worked with somehow the U.S. or Trump administration to go after Venezuela? I mean, as soon as she received that Nobel Peace Prize, the first thing she said was, "This I'm gonna dedicate it to President Donald Trump." So I wonder what kind of relationship they've had before Venezuela was invaded and its president was kidnapped by the U.S. 17 before 10.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
Mbija, you're calling us from Soweto. You want to talk about what General Khumalo said yesterday. Good morning.
Kgotso Mr. Manyathela le kae?
Thabela re bona le kae?
Re dula ka botsaleng.
Wa
tsaba wena Mr. Clement ntho go sa botlhoko ka our South African police. Banna ba go korga ke am e-hailing driver ne.
Yes.
Go ka berekela area ela ya Amalgam, Forsberg, Joburg CBD, Hillbrow, Brixton. These people, they are corrupt to the root. Early in the morning, they will catch all these foreign nationals. Within an hour's time, they will be releasing them. The same thing again in the evening, they will be doing the very same thing. So I'm asking myself, these guys, what are they doing exactly? Like yesterday, they stopped me. And then when they stop me and they come to my car and then I open the window, they say to me, "Why are you going?" I'm saying, "Guys, I'm at work. I'm taking somebody to OR Tambo."
Yeah.
No, open the window at the back. Open the window. "Yes, madam. How are you, madam? Are you a Mozambican or a Zimbabwean?" So I'm asking myself, guys, what kind of question are you asking? They say, "No, we are on duty. We're checking these people." So it's sad, my brother. It's sad. These guys, what they're doing, really.
Yeah, so Mbija in Soweto, thanks for your call. So here's the thing, right? You and I as citizens have a responsibility to respect authority. And that's why I said earlier, this is where it makes it tricky. How do I know who's an honest officer and who's not? Because I have no respect for officers that are busy wearing a uniform that's supposed to stand for the rule of law, authority, and the protection of us as civilians. And that's the same person who is in cahoots with criminals. I have no respect for an officer like that. So if we are being told that almost all of them are in this province, who do you know who's honest and who's not? And this is unfair because, one, there are some police officers out there who are honest, who love what they do, and they care about the rule of law. They care about protecting you. And you know what's going to happen to them tomorrow? They're not going to be respected by you. Because you have been told that almost all are compromised, are corrupt. There are some people out there who love their job. I mean, someone has just sent me a clip now of a woman who was stopped by police officers. And this woman says, "Please, can we go speak at the at the police station or at the petrol station? I don't trust you." And they're insisting that, no, come out of the car or open the window. They want to ask her questions. Do you see where we're going with this? We're going to get to a point where the authority of the SAPS is not respected. Men and women in blue are not respected because the perception that exists as we have been told, is that many of them are corrupt. And that's what I worry. And if that happens, what kind of society are we going to be when we have completely lost respect for our SAPS members? Remember what used to happen in Sunnyside? In Sunnyside, they used to even pelt stones at police officers. There were sections in society who didn't respect police officers. There were videos that used to make rounds. No respect whatsoever for men and women in blue. And I worry that that's where we're going to head towards. We're going to get to a point where we don't even respect their authority when they legitimately stop us at roadblocks. That's where we're going to head to. And that's my worry, because I'm thinking about what kind of society we're going to become post that. JD, you are in the Val. What are your thoughts? Hi.
Thobela Madumeja.
Sure.
Madumeja. You know what? If you were to show me one police officer that is clean in Gauteng, I'll give you a 5 rand note. You understand where I'm going?
Yeah.
So there isn't one. Personally, I was involved in a program where I was trying to rehabilitate these youngsters from Nyaupe. So parallel to that process, I went to the police station and said, guys, we'll help you. We know where these drug dens are. We'll help you clean the streets while we are cleaning these young men. I didn't get any cooperation. I had to escalate this program to the provincial office in Parktown. They intervened and came to the local police station, and they talked to the station commander. Clement, from then on till today, we've never achieved anything because they were not willing to cooperate. So they will go to those addresses that we give them, but what they will do, they will just take money from those guys. So if a person does not cooperate, they will confiscate whatever stock from him and take it to the one that cooperates, that pays them a bribe.
Yeah, that's really sad, JD. Thank you for your call, Endeavour. Can you imagine the morale in the police? I feel sorry for the men and women in blue who are honest about their jobs and they love what they do and they are not corrupt. I feel sorry for them because, and we do this all the time, then you start painting everyone with the same brush just because you have had a negative experience with police officers. Then you start thinking that all of them are. The morale must be so low. Like someone who loves their job, who's a police officer out there who wakes up in the morning, do you really want to go to work? When that's a perception that the society you are meant to protect, that's a perception they hold against you. Spare a thought, because they do exist. Spare a thought for the honest men and women in blue out there who just want to do their job, who are not interested in being in cahoots with criminals. They just want to do their job. But there's a perception. And now there are these revelations that, almost all here are like this. An assessment is made. Sten, you're calling from Boxback. Hi.
Hi, Clement. How are you?
Sure.
Exactly. Look, I'm beginning to actually have a problem with this Mkwanazi thing. The Kumalo Nature, I don't know what is that they've been doing all along in Nature, if they knew that something like this is taking place. There are several other incidents that took place in this particular country. The country nearly went into fire. They couldn't be able to detect some of the things quite earlier, so that the police could actually be able to intervene and sort out this particular mess. Right now, they say almost all the police in Gauteng are actually involved in cartels with criminals. How true can that be? They are taking advantage of the fact that majority in the country now, they're actually into this Mkwanazi park. We're not listening carefully anymore. They can say anything. They're fabricating as they go along. And this is totally irresponsible. You cannot actually come up with something like that. And for that matter, understand the superiors, in subs in Gauteng don't know about this particular thing. How the heck are they actually operating? I don't believe them anymore. I just don't believe them. They are fabricating. Maybe they want to be in control. I don't know. But this is actually like totally irresponsible. How should I look at police as I drive along in Gauteng right now? Totally irresponsible. There's no way you can justify that kind of a comment coming from somebody from the intelligence. That's totally irresponsible. If it's actually true, why were they quiet all along? They've been quiet, and I think they're fabricating some of these stories as they go along. They're fabricating them. Maybe there's an agenda here. I'm telling you, these guys are trying to protect their meal ticket. That's that impression I'm getting now. They're in charge.
Okay, Stan in Boksburg, thank you so much for your thoughts. Do you agree with what Stan is saying? That now they're taking it too far and making this broad general statement. I asked earlier, what is being done? So if really an assessment is made, right? If an assessment is made, and by the way, General Khumalo has managed to bring about some evidence. I mean, when he was at the Madlanga Commission, some of the stuff that he said, he was able to back it up with evidence. We've seen that. So when they say this, you take it seriously. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that everything is going to be truthful to the T, but I'm saying they've said stuff before that they've managed to back up with evidence in as far as these cartels are concerned. But when you make a statement that almost all SAPS members are corrupt and compromised and there's an assessment made, the obvious question is, okay, what has been done? So if you know that Clement, John, Tsepo, Tabiseng, Gladys are compromised, why are we not being told that 6 have been arrested? 10 have been arrested. But maybe the challenge is that who arrests them, because it rots from the head. I spoke about General Shibiri. How many witnesses have mentioned this man, head of organized crime in Gauteng? He's still on the job. Not even a precautionary suspension. Yeah, hey? Not even a precautionary suspension. Let's go to your WhatsApps.
Good morning, Clement and 702 team. Salamina from Pretoria. With regards to police officers that are just corrupt, my dad's friend, who was a brigadier, took early retirement because he could not handle the caliber of people that were being hired in the police force anymore. He just couldn't understand how suddenly comrades were now SAPS officials, and they were now given posts in senior posts in the police force, and he just couldn't understand anymore. And lo and behold, look now what's going on. So I understand the frustration of Mr. Khumalo and why he felt the need to come out with what's happening.
Morning, Clement. I'd like to remain anonymous. My ex-husband is JNPD, and he really did try to be the good one. But working on the ground for him became so difficult that he actually just opted to go work in the CCTV offices, because that was much easier for him as an honest police officer. It's not easy for the right ones to work on the ground. Like your previous listener said, that they would arrest someone now, and that person in 2-3 hours is out.
Good morning, Clement. I think the general is correct. He is right. Almost all the police are compromised. Take a simple example of illegal cigarettes. Illegal sale of cigarettes. They know where they are sold, and nobody's going to touch those people. Yes, it is true. Thank you. Bye.
Hi, Clement. I live in Ivory Park, and I can attest to what the gentleman said about the police taking bribes from illegal immigrants in Hillbrow. It's the same in Ivory Park, and I'm sure in most townships. But I'll talk about the Ivory Park because that's where I live. So Police are doing this daily, in the mornings and in the afternoons when people coming back from work and going to work. So that's why they do stop and searches and mini roadblocks and collecting bribes from illegal immigrants. 1.5, that's the going rate at the moment. So it's so sad. I think not all, obviously, but most police officers are corrupt.
Morning, Clement and the team. You know, what's confusing is these are allegations to South Africans. Rumors start somewhere, first of all, and these are allegations. This is like based on facts or evidence, I'm assuming, allegedly. However, if it's there to begin with, that means there's something there. So them denying and them can they stop making fools of us? Because it's not even about the evidence not even being there. We see the rot happening live as we live, the reality we live. We can see it live that things are not working out. Corruption is alive. So why do they keep denying?
There's a new way to experience all your favorites. Pulse Africa, the 24/7 fast channel, now live on primemediaplus.com and the Prime Media Plus app, bringing you the best of Prime Media around the clock. Watch the biggest moments from 7:02. It's non-stop entertainment and authentic African storytelling, all from Africa's leading media network. Pulse Africa, only on the primemediaplus.com and Prime Media Plus app.
This festive, turn your family meetings into family eatings with the Nando's Festive Fill-Up Meal. A full flame grilled chicken, 2 sharing sides, 4 cheesy rissoles, 2 Cabo Societies, 2 Nando's rolls, and a 1.5-liter Coca-Cola for only $3.99 to enjoy at your place. And if your family meeting is at our place, get 40 Rand off. Nando's. Oh, what a place.
Hollywood Bet invites you to take the lead. The sizzling summer competition is giving you a chance to bask in horse racing glory and blaze into red-hot rewards. Bet 50 Rand or more on horse racing online or at your nearest branch and you could win a share of 1 million Rand in prizes. Enjoy a star-studded lineup of equestrian events this summer and settle up for a season of success. Bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
Outsurance Life Insurance knows that your family trusts you to care, protect, and provide for them, even if you're no longer around.
More than anything, I need my child to be educated.
That's why 30-year-old Ntogozo pays only 233 Rand a month for over 1.5 million Rand life cover.
My little one would be secure. I trust Outsurance with my life.
Get Outsurance Life Insurance cover without doing any medicals. SMS Insure to 47159. That's Insure to 47159. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Action SA's mayoral candidate for Ekurhuleni, Xolani Khumalo, is set to hand himself over to police regarding assault charges against him. Police have reportedly been looking for Khumalo in Katlehong for allegedly beating a man last month. Action SA has released a statement this morning saying on the day of the alleged incident, Khumalo was indeed present during a police operation where a suspected drug dealer's home was raided. This is not the first time that Khumalo has landed himself on the wrong side of the law, as he was previously arrested for the murder of Robert Very. However, those charges were later dropped. Action SA National Chairperson Michael Beaumont says Khumalo will hand himself over to police on Monday.
This experience is not new for Khumalo, having been charged before. South Africans know that corrupt SAPS members let the criminals free and arrest those who actually fight the crime that they do not. This case is no different.
Former Presidents Jacob Zuma and Thabo Mbeki are this morning expected to make a formal application for the recusal of TRC Commission of Inquiry Chairperson Justice Sisi Khampepe. The application comes after both men expressed their disapproval of Khampepe's involvement in the commission. Khampepe was last year appointed alongside two other commissioners by the President to head up the commission. The TRC Commission is tasked with investigating the cause of the delays in prosecuting apartheid-era crimes amid allegations of political interference and deliberate delays. Khomozo Modise reports.
In what can be described as a rare sight, former Presidents Jacob Zuma and Thabo Mbeki will form a tag team this morning in their bid to have Justice Sisi Khampepe removed as chair of the TRC Commission of Inquiry. One of the main complaints they have about her involvement is the fact that she was one of the commissioners in the initial Truth and Reconciliation Commission's hearing in the 1990s. They've also pointed out that Khampepe was the Deputy National Director of Public Prosecutions, claiming a conflict because the NPA was tasked to prosecute the crimes. But Zuma takes it a step further, claiming Khampepe has a vendetta against him as she delivered the constitutional judgment that sent him to prison in 2021. The recusal application will be heard by the panel this morning. Khomozo Modise, Eyewitness News.
The Mudumule Regional Court is expected to hand down a ruling today on the trial within a trial in the Phala matter about a witness that gave contradictory evidence. The state witness accused the police of making him sign a statement he didn't understand. Emanuela David and siblings Froliana and Dilinasho Joseph are accused of breaking into President Cyril Ramaphosa's game farm in 2020 and stealing $580,000 in cash. Tabiso Koba reports.
The witness, who cannot be named, initially gave a statement to police saying he transported accused number 1 Emanuela David and two other people from Bilabila to Kempton Park a day after the burglary. In a statement, the witness said he was paid $30,000 in cash. However, when he took the witness stand last year, he completely contradicted his statement, accusing the police of intimidation and saying he is illiterate and did not understand what he was signing. The witness says while he did transport accused number 1 and two other people, he was paid 7,000 rand and not the $30,000 quoted in the police statement. Under cross-examination by the prosecutor, the witness admitted he had been coming to court using a car belonging to the mother of the accused siblings Froliana and Dilinasho Joseph. The court will make a ruling today on whether the statement he gave to police can be admitted as evidence in the main trial. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
And South Korea's impeached president Yoon Suk-yeol will be jailed for 5 years over abuse of power, obstructing justice and falsifying documents in relation to his failed martial law bid in 2024. This is the first of the verdicts in 4 trials linked to his shock martial law decree. Although short-lived, the move triggered nationwide turmoil, sparking protests as MPs rushed to the National Assembly to overturn his decision. A judge says Yoon's actions plunged the country into political crisis, noting that Yoon had consistently shown no remorse. Today's ruling offers clues as to how the rest of Yoon's trials could go. His string of charges range from abuse of power to campaign law violations. Gold is trading at $4,616.66 an ounce. The rand is at 16.33 to the dollar, 21.87 to the pound, 18.98 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $66.52 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N3 North approaching the Kilulis interchange due to an earlier accident. And then if you're traveling in 4 ways, be on the lookout for some delays on Winnie Mandela Drive approaching Leslie Avenue. There's also queuing traffic along the M2 West, that's in the Crown City area. And this is between the Crown interchange and Main Reef Road.
A cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng with scattered showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 26 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Action SA's mayoral candidate for Ekurhuleni Xolani Khumalo is set to hand himself over to police regarding assault charges against him.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Minutes after 10 o'clock, Dumelang, welcome to the second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you so much for staying with us here on 702, and thank you for your contribution as always on the 702 open line. Someone tagged me on a post on Twitter. This is Gertrude who tagged me on a post on Twitter. It's an article by the Financial Times, and they're talking about what we were discussing on the open line, the meeting that Maria Machado had with the U.S. President Donald Trump, and her handing over her Nobel Peace Prize to the U.S. President. But guess what? She failed to secure his backing to be Venezuela's next president. Remember, Trump is trying to find someone to be the president in Venezuela, someone who can lead Venezuela. And Trump has already said, last year already, he doesn't really have confidence in this woman. Like, this woman is falling to the floor, trying to honor Trump and, praise Trump, even give him her own Nobel Peace Prize. And yet Trump doesn't even recognize her as a leader. Trump is going to find somebody else to be the leader of Venezuela. It's not going to be this woman. But she seems to be okay with that. She says it was an emotional thing, handing over that Nobel Peace Prize to the U.S. President. It's time now for our Across the Desk feature.
Across the Desk
with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
So on our Across the Desk feature this morning, I'm hosting plastic surgeons, and I want us to find out more about the work that they do. And I would like to hear from you if you have used their services before, whether reconstructive or aesthetic, plastic surgery. Because when we hear the term plastic surgery, many of us immediately think of cosmetic procedures, right? We think of celebrity culture and images shaped by social media. But in South Africa, plastic surgery is far more complex than that. And they will help us understand that this morning. You can join this conversation by calling us on 011-883-0702 or send us a WhatsApp voice note on 072-702-1702. I've got two doctors I've invited in studio this morning. Dr. Tato Khosi, who is a plastic surgeon, here with us in studio. Dr. Khosi, thank you so much for making time. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for welcoming me.
Thank you, Dr. Leritlechi Omupedi. Waresho. Dr. Leritlechi Maditsi. Ke Madichi or ke Maditsi?
Ke Maditsi.
Maditsi. Plastics and reconstructive surgeon. Thank you so much to you as well for making time for us.
Thank you for having me.
So I always start this by asking what interested you in this profession. Dr. Khosi, have you always wanted to be a plastic surgeon?
Yes, I always have. Initially, I started doing general surgery, but with time, a lot of combination of factors pull me towards plastic surgery. One, it's creative, it's innovative, and a third one would be that it creates a lasting impression and an impact in patients' lives.
Oh, wow. So how long did you do general surgery?
I did it for 2 years, 2.5 years.
And that's when you pivoted to
Yes,
this?
correct.
All right. And Dr. Maditsi, for you?
The same applies for me.
Yeah.
I got exposed to plastic surgery when I was doing my internship. And it was a breast reduction patient that I encountered.
Yeah.
And I got to see the impact that the surgery had on her. And I did have to go through my general surgery training initially until I got into a plastic surgery training post. And that's how I got to specialize and come into the field.
Okay. How do we differentiate between like reconstructive and cosmetic plastic surgery?
So I can go first. So reconstruction, basically, you perform surgeries post-trauma or post-cancer treatment or post-congenital abnormalities. So it's a medically warranted treatment, whereas in terms of aesthetic or cosmetic surgery, it more enhances. It's an elective type of treatment where you have an enhancement of I'd put it in colloquial words, your features or your beauty.
Okay, and then you are more specializing in what?
You can do both.
You can do both?
Yeah.
Similarly with you?
Same thing with me. I do reconstructive surgery as well as aesthetic, otherwise known as cosmetic surgery.
What do people mostly come to you for in far as cosmetic surgery is concerned? Is it mostly breast reduction? Is BBL part of surgery, like plastic surgery? Is it part of it?
That is correct.
Oh, okay.
It is.
What's the most popular thing they come to you for cosmetic surgery?
With regards to my practice, I get a lot of requests for tummy tuck surgery.
So tummy tuck surgery is what?
Essentially, it's when it occurs mostly with post-pregnancy.
Like a mummy makeover.
It's a mummy makeover. It includes a mummy makeover. A mummy makeover is a combination of different surgeries, essentially. It can be a breast reduction done with liposuction as well as tummy tuck surgery. So the tummy tuck essentially removes the excess skin as well as stretch marks that one may have had after pregnancies.
Oh, I see. So if I want to, I was talking with the traffic reporter, my colleague, and we're like, what we would like is to someone who can draw out the fat from our tummies. Is that, what would you call that then? Is it a lipo?
It's a liposuction.
Liposuction.
Yes.
What does it entail exactly?
So basically, if you have areas of excess abdominal tissue that you are struggling with, or you want to contour your body in a certain way, then liposuction would be the procedure that would be indicated to remove that fat. And also with liposuction, you can also do fat grafting, as you would call BBL, and transfer the fat into a different part of the body.
So you take that fat from here and then you can put it on someone's bum, for instance?
Basically.
Does it have to be their fat, or you can take somebody else's fat and just put it on someone else's bum? Does it have to be your fat that moves from one area to the next?
I don't think anyone would approve or want to have someone's fat.
Someone who has excessive fat, I could say, yo, can we talk? Give me a bit of your fat. Okay, and this is now like a question I'm asking for myself. I've really struggled with my tummy, and I know people think I'm being dramatic because it's not that big, as you can see, but I think it is. And I've tried the gym, and I'm at a point where I'm literally seriously considering, because I take a lot of sugar. I love sugary things, and I think there's a lot of sugar sitting here. What's available for me as an option?
Well, for starters, you will need to come in for an assessment by a plastic surgeon. So you'll make an appointment to be assessed. And during that consultation, history will be taken to determine whether you have any chronic medical conditions, what medication are you on, do you smoke, essentially trying to determine whether you're a high-risk or low-risk patient and whether the surgery is indicated.
Yeah.
Right? And following the examination, then we'll get into the discussion of what the surgery entails and how long the recovery will be, the complications thereof as well. And that's when we'll decide whether you are a great candidate for the surgery or not.
So I can't say to you, I am a great candidate. You must tell me. Oh, yeah, okay. It's a long road. Got it. What do you think is the most challenging thing about your job?
So it's managing expectations. So generally in the last, let's say a decade or so, there's been a boom in terms of media and social media about cosmetic surgery. Everyone wants to do it. I'm sure you've seen the Kardashians, everyone. So everyone expects to have a beach body. And that's not what your body or what we can give you per se. So plastic surgery has to be tailored to your body and not according to your expectations of social media. So
someone can't come with Kim Kardashian's picture and say, I want to look like Kim.
No, it has to be tailored according to your own body.
Okay.
Yeah, so the expectations can be managed properly and accordingly.
So how do you deal with people who say they came with an expectation and they didn't get what they thought they were going to look like? Have you had cases like that where you do something and someone had wanted to look like Kim Kardashian, but unfortunately that's not possible? You still help them, but they would have loved to look extra like Kim. How do you handle situations like that?
So as Dr. Khosi has already mentioned, it's important to manage expectations. And these we determine at the consultation. That's where we ask you, what is it that you're hoping the surgery will do for you?
Yeah.
And what are the results that you're hoping for?
Yeah.
And it is that will guide me as a surgeon to tell you, after I have examined you, that your anatomy, your physique essentially does allow for this, or whether it doesn't allow for it. And that's very important in guiding the patient as to what their potential results will be.
Yeah. And for you, the most challenging thing, what would you say it is? Is it the same as managing expectations, or is it something else?
It is the same as managing expectations. We also have social media exposing patients to information, Google as well. So patients are very well informed nowadays, which is great. I mean, it's important that patients are informed. And it's just that sometimes patients have the wrong information. And that's what I, as a specialist, I, as a surgeon, have to guide them, to show them that this is doable, this is not doable, and what you can expect from that surgery.
I mean, I've seen, people who have been in accidents, for instance, Dr. Khosi, who, they really have had serious trauma, and somehow, as a reconstructive surgeon, you find a way to put that back all together in a way that somehow retains the person's dignity. What does that mean for you, being able to impact someone like that?
So part of our job, or part of our specialty, is restoring form and function. So it's part of our job to restore their appearance and form, and also restoration of their function if they lose any. So it's quite fulfilling to have someone walk in a debilitating way and come out at least with a recognizable and good appearance. So it's quite fulfilling for me. I think that's what also drew me into the specialty, that you also change people's lives for the better.
Yeah. What would you say is the most hectic case you've ever worked on? Like the most complicated?
Oh, there are a lot. There are a lot.
Huh?
I think my colleague here, because I've worked with her for a while.
Yeah.
I've been on different cases, so none can pop up at the top of my head right now, but there have been a lot.
Is there one you've done that has been really hectic?
Mostly reconstructive cases, but cosmetic cases as well. I will say plastic surgery is a very stressful job, essentially, because everybody can see the results, the patient themselves, most importantly. So we work under that pressure, if I can call it that. So whether reconstructive, whether cosmetic, it's quite stressful. The aim being that you need to restore function, you need to restore form, and to refine, which is cosmetic surgery, essentially to refine and enhance the patient's body.
One of the things, social media has done that's negative is, and this is really a concern, unqualified practitioners that are advertising cosmetic surgery online. What do you think the public should know about the risks? What should they look out for so that they don't fall
It really has become a problem and a danger for them. So there's high likelihood of complications. So a complication that they can get would be infections, disfigurement, and also permanent damage. And in some rare cases, they may lead to death also. So it's quite important that patients actually do their research on whoever they're going to for any form of procedure. Yeah.
Okay.
So any form of, I'd say, red flags for that would be cheap procedures that are advertised that are normally wouldn't be at that price, or procedures that are done at uncredited facilities. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of, sometimes when, especially celebrities, you see their old pictures and you see their pictures now. Nose jobs. Are people doing a lot of them? Because when I see old pictures of people and latest pictures of people, I'm like, that nose wasn't like that when you were 10. and 15. How did it get so, evenly shaped and pointed?
Right.
Is that one of the popular things people go for, like a nose job?
I personally do not do nose jobs.
Yeah.
Otherwise known as rhinoplasties,
Yeah.
which is the medical term.
Is there a reason you don't?
So when I specialized, I decided what surgeries I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Right. So I mostly do breast surgery.
Okay.
In the form of cosmetic breast surgery as well as breast reconstruction after breast cancer surgery, and cosmetic surgery including tummy tuck, liposuction, breast augmentation, fat grafting, as previously mentioned.
Okay.
Yes.
There's actually a question about breast implants. Like, can you breastfeed with breast implants?
You certainly can breastfeed with breast implant surgery.
Okay, I see. I've got some WhatsApp voice notes coming through. 011-883-0702. That's the number to dial. Your WhatsApps are coming on 072-702-1702. If you've got questions for the good doctors, please keep them coming. Or maybe you want to give us your experience. Maybe you have used the services of a plastic surgeon. What was it for? Was it reconstructive? Was it an aesthetic plastic surgery? Let us know.
Good morning. I'm replying to your question about have we made use of any of the plastic surgeons' services that you're interviewing this morning. And I just want to say that Dr. Medici worked on my ear about 2 years ago. She had to cut out a very huge piece of cancer I had, and it was bigger than we anticipated. And my ear did not look very pretty after the initial operation. And then Dr. Medici made a plan, and she operated to reconstruct my ear. And although it's a little bit smaller, it looks amazing compared to what it would have looked. And I'm very happy, and she's amazing. Dr. Medici is amazing. Her bedside manner is amazing. She is just overall a superwoman. Hope you all have a great weekend. Bye.
She's blushing here.
Hi, Clem. I've got a question for the doctors. I want to remove my implants, and no plastic surgeon will do the removal unless I do a lift. I do not want to have a lift. I'm not interested in altering my body any further. I just want to have the implants done and removed. I've had them for since 2005. So it's 20 years and nobody wants to remove them. What's the doctor's advice?
Any advice? What do you do in that case?
So essentially, if the patient does not want to have a lift and they understand that the breasts will remain saggy and they are happy about that, I don't see a reason why the surgery cannot be performed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, as long as the patient understands, they know the risks, they understand that this is the result that they will have after the surgery, and they are happy with that, as she's mentioned. I don't see the reason why the surgery cannot be performed, unless there are other mitigating factors.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for the patient, understanding and accepting the result poses no reason why the surgery cannot be performed.
Okay, someone is asking, what is a BBL?
So essentially, I had summed it up earlier on.
Yeah.
It's basically a transfer. First you have to do it's enlargement of your gluteal area or your buttock area, either by harvesting fat from areas of excess of fat in your body. So it can either be from your tummy, your waist, your thighs, your inner thighs, and transferring to your buttocks.
Why do they call it BBL?
It's a Brazilian butt lift, basically.
Brazilian?
Yeah. So
what is it done? Was it done for the first time in Brazil, or it's maybe done a lot in Brazil? Well, Tabang, there you have it. It's a Brazilian butt lift. That's what BBL actually stands for.
The formal term is gluteal augmentation.
Gluteal
augmentation.
Augmentation.
Hi, Clement. I won't say my name on this one. When I was young, I was 15. I have two people who are actually bullying me. 3 people who are actually bullying me. And one day we had a fight. I grabbed the other one, I bite his ear, but I bite just a little. And they came back tomorrow with knives and they cut my whole ear off and they took it and they burned it. So I wanted to be a model when I was maybe 17, 18, but I quit because of having the side of my head empty. You understand what I'm saying? So today when I hear you talk to these beautiful people right there, now I so wish that they can help me, because it's the only thing that I feel like if you had to put 4 million right in front of me and a new ear, I will take a new ear. I'd rather be broke for the rest of my life, because when you sit in a taxi or you're in the mall and people, they notice and they look at you like, I wonder what happened. Can they help me? And I'll listen in the radio.
Geez, I'm sorry about all of that. My goodness, that's so traumatic. What options are available for someone like that who needs that? Can they get, can you take skin from another body, and how does it work?
So ear reconstruction, excuse me, ear reconstruction can be done, especially post-trauma, and sometimes we have babies that are born without ears. So it is part of our speciality. It's a surgery that requires multiple stages, all spaced out intermittently. So the patient needs to understand that it will be a prolonged surgery, essentially. So we take part of the rib and cartilage, we fashion it into an ear, and we create a flap, essentially a tissue component to cover that cartilage. And as time goes on, we will fashion it and create a proper ear. So it requires multiple stages. The other option is to have a prosthetic ear. So it's an artificial ear, essentially. So if the patient does not want to go through all those multiple stages, because they can be quite costly as well, they can opt to have an artificial ear as well.
Okay. Do public hospitals offer these services?
Definitely.
But not aesthetic, right? This is more reconstructive.
Public hospitals do offer both aesthetic and reconstructive.
Oh, so what I mean is, will you pay for it? So if it's reconstructive, do you pay for it?
There's an element of payment, but it will not be as costly as in private.
In private hospitals?
Yes.
Okay, I see. There's another question about the belly button. Why the belly button looks different after a tummy tuck? Because often it's the telling thing when someone has done it.
It all depends on how it was designed by the surgeon, as well as the anatomy of the patient prior to the surgery. So what the belly button looks like prior to the surgery, and how the surgeon will design, as well as healing. All of those impact the final result of the belly button.
Okay. And then someone is asking about the estimated costs of some of the cosmetic surgeries. How high can they go? How much are we talking?
So it depends. I can't really, let's say, give you a ball range. It depends, because when we charge, the hospital charges a fee for the procedure and aftercare for plus or minus 2 days. Then you have the surgeon charging a fee also. And then you also have the anesthetist doctor charging a fee. So it's a combined 3 combinations from the hospital, the surgeon, and the anesthetist. And it depends which procedure that you do.
So if I wanted to do a lipo, on average, how much am I looking? Just on the surgeon price, just on average. Are we talking 20,000 Rand? Are we talking 50,000 Rand? On average. Not what you charge, just on average, what is charged normally?
It depends on the area of the body, how long the surgery.
Lipo here.
On the tummy, okay, as you previously mentioned.
Yeah.
So it will be lipo on the tummy. So the surgeon's fee, as well as the hospital fee, as well as the anesthesiologist's fee, because that's another, somebody has to put you to sleep while I'm doing the surgery, while we do the surgery. So on average, it ranges between 60 to 100K.
Okay.
Average.
On average, all
Yes.
of that. Okay. Why can't you guys just put me to sleep, why must I get another specialist? Because that's another cost. That is, I've never understood that. Because all they do is, what do they come inject me? And then they move out. What do they do?
Because they take care of you when you're asleep. So they take care of your airway.
Oh,
and also,
they attend to me while I'm asleep.
And they are specialized for that. They've also been through training for about 4 years or so to make sure that you're not in pain, that you're well asleep, and the surgery goes well and you wake up after the procedure.
Can't you guys just do extra 6 months of studies and learn that so that you just do everything? Because I'm talking from the point of cost, because I've done like a cataract surgery on my ear, and the costs are crazy because you're paying the ophthalmologist, and you must pay this person who's putting you to sleep. I just think it could just be combined. It will help us a lot.
Unfortunately not, Clement. There are specialists for that. And in order to maximize safety of the patient.
True.
Yeah, so it's important that also for patients, the public in general, when they want to have surgery done, they need to inquire from the surgeon whether there will be an anesthetist available, because you want to make sure that the surgery is done in a safe facility.
And is it safe to administer it?
Precisely.
In fact, next time we must host them, these people who put us to sleep. I'm interested to know more about their work and what it entails. It's 10:32. Let's get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. We're going to continue our conversation with Dr. Khosi and Dr. Maditsi, who are surgeons, plastic surgeons. If you've got questions, 011-883-0702. We'll take your WhatsApps as well on 072-702-1702. Sfiso, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. An Ethiopian national facing 12 counts of kidnapping is appearing before the Boyson's Magistrates Court for a bail application. The 47-year-old man was arrested last Thursday in Malbatten after a high-speed chase with police. He's accused of keeping a group of foreign teenage boys who are suspected to be in the country illegally. The former chairperson of a committee tasked with the regulation of the Christian faith says the process being led by the CRL Commission will not succeed. A public fallout is playing out between the CRL's chair, Togo Mkhwanazi-Xaluva, and the appointed chair of the Section 22 committee, Reverend Musa Kulu. And U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened to invoke an emergency law that allows the domestic deployment of the military after government agents killed one person and injured another in Minnesota, sparking mass protests. Protesters have denounced the aggressive tactics of Trump's broad-reaching immigration raids in rallies in the Midwestern city, which is a Democratic stronghold. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by South African Airways. It's nearly time to head back to university, so why hit the road when you can fly? Book at flysaa.com now. Amu, how are we looking on the roads?
Well, Clement, we have got delays on the N12 as well as the R24 West. This is in the Bedfordview area. This is between the Edenville exit and the Glulies interchange. Please be on the lookout there. If you're traveling out of the OR Tambo Airport, do expect about a 20-minute hold-up once you reach the N12 and the R24 West. And then if you're traveling in the Crown City area, we've got delays reported on the M2 West. This is between the Crown Interchange and Main Riff Road. Main Riff Road in itself is backed up towards Albertina Sisulu Drive. And then if you're traveling in Sandton, we still have got faulty traffic lights right at the M1 and Greyston Drive. They're also out of order in Centurion at the R101, Old Johannesburg Road and Braakfontein Road. Please be on the lookout and drive with care. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Matric class of 2025, ready to spread your wings? South African Airways makes your uni journey easier with all-inclusive one-way fares from Johannesburg to Durban from 690 Rand, from Johannesburg to Gqeberha from 655 Rand, and from Johannesburg to Cape Town from 1,144 Rand. Plus, pack more of what you need with 2 checked bags instead of 1. On sale until the 12th of February. So travel by the 12th of Feb 2026. Book now at flysaa.com. T's and C's apply.
There's crossing a river, and then there's crossing a river in your Ford Everest. With up to 6 selectable drive modes, it's not a challenge, It's a flex. That's peak living in the Ford Everest from only $12,099 per month with zero deposit required when financed through Ford Credit, a registered financial services and credit provider. Includes our Ford Family Promise, where you receive free 4x4 training, 6.6% interest rate, 40% residual. Visit your nearest Ford dealer today. T&Cs apply.
In life's most challenging moments of loss, compassion can be your greatest comfort. You shouldn't have to face the financial burden of losing a loved one by yourself. Rest assured, Clientele's funeral plans pay out cash within 24 hours. You can cover up to 13 family members on one plan, ensuring all your loved ones are taken care of, and 3 children are covered at no additional cost. With Clientele, you're not just buying a plan, you're also buying peace of mind. When the time comes, you will need to make important calls with your 200 Rand airtime you will receive when you claim. Plans offer double accidental death cover, as well as transport, grocery, and unveiling benefits. Apply today. It's easy. There are no medical examinations and no paperwork. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
In Africa, we say the chameleon looks in all directions before moving. At Plus 94 Research, we understand the importance of careful consideration. By analyzing comprehensive data and diverse perspectives, we help you make informed decisions that stand the test of time. Don't leap without looking. Move forward with insight and precision. Plus 94 Research, the science of decision making.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
Statistics can tell us a certain amount, but I would imagine in many ways they raise as many questions as answers. What have you taken from the numbers the minister put out today?
It's a mixed bag. First of all, it's fantastic that the trend is downwards, not only this festive season compared with last year's festive season. And data is incredibly important. You can't manage what you can't measure. So we, NGOs working in road safety, members of the public, and also government officials, we really need data.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman is proudly brought to you by Telkom Business. Possibility begins here.
Across the desk
with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
22 minutes before 11 o'clock. I'm hosting plastic surgeons on our Across the Desk feature this morning, and we're finding out more about their work. And I'm giving you an opportunity as well to ask them some questions if you've got any. Maybe you're considering it. Maybe you've done it. And if you have done it, please let me know how it was for you. What was your experience, and what exactly did you do as well? I've got some messages that have come through. Let me start there. Anonymous says, Clement, can medical aid cover breast reduction for breasts that grow exponentially due to weight gain caused by other factors? It's affecting my day-to-day life. The breasts are not the same size, and I can't buy normal bras because of the cup size difference. They are also causing back pains.
Yes, I'll go for that. So medical aid sometimes does pay for breast reduction, but also it depends. It has to be motivated by the doctor. So they usually decline if the patient is above a certain BMI. Each medical aid has a certain cutoff for BMI. But usually if the patient is symptomatic with motivation from the doctor, they usually approve, pending the patient falls under the recommendations of a certain BMI and also a motivation from the clinician.
Okay, so all right, so then she would have to check that BMI first.
Yes.
Sure, yeah, okay. Thank you, Anonymous, for that question. I hope that answer helps you. Another one says, good morning, Clement. Can the doctors refine a scar to look better? Well, does it depend on where the scar is and the extent?
So scar management is part of our speciality, definitely. Yeah. And there's different modes of making a scar to look better. So it also depends on when the injury was, so that we determine during the consultation to determine the cause, the duration, any concomitant medical conditions. And once an examination has been done, then we can discuss the options in managing the scar.
Okay.
One of which can include surgery.
Okay, someone else is asking about delaying wrinkling. Says Clement, please ask them in terms of facial aesthetic rejuvenation to delay wrinkling. Which advanced tech procedures yield better results? I'm over 60. I don't really have wrinkles on my face, but I have some on my neck.
There's preventative measures that one can take to prevent, to delay essentially wrinkling. And these include injectables such as Botox, commonly known, and it essentially paralyzes the muscles of the face and thus preventing wrinkling to show.
What do you mean paralyzes the muscles? So I can't feel anything on my face?
You can feel, but movement of your facial muscles is
so you can't like do that.
That is correct. That is correct.
All right. And another one says, hello, Clement. Please ask the guest what is done to avoid, is it capsular contraction with a breast augmentation surgery? I am considering the surgery, but I'm concerned about that.
So in terms of capsular contraction, this has to be discussed with the surgeon involved. So it's mainly the technique that's involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how the surgeon operates, there's minimal bleeding, but those can be explained just prior to surgery. So, and then from that, so most of them are technique involved more than what the patient can do. So they can be further explained if the patient is considering breast augmentation.
And then Anonymous here says, hi Clement, breast reduction is a life-changing surgery. I've always been a teen with big boobs. I became worse after having babies and never liked my body. I did the reduction and started living again. Can the doctors please do it at public hospitals for people who cannot afford? That's Anonymous there. We spoke about this just before the headlines. Another one says, good morning, Clement and your guest there. I'm so grateful that after a mastectomy, the other breast was reduced so as not to sag. So there's someone else who's happy there after having done surgery. Another one says, Clement, skin was taken on my thighs and legs to cover burns that I sustained when I was 3 years. So skin graft was done on most parts of my body, and I'm now 54 years, and it was done at Baragwanath back in 1976. Oh, wow. So, yeah, there is someone else who wanted to know, what do they need to study in order to specialize and be plastic surgeons? So first, let's start in high school. You must pass maths and science.
That's correct.
With
yes.
What? Ka B, ka A?
It depends on the university requirements, but yes, mostly you need to have passed your matric very well.
Okay. And after that?
After that, then you get admitted into a medical university. You study for a period of 6 years. Some universities offer 5 years. Following that, you'll do your internship, which is a 2-year period, and then community service for a year. If you're fortunate, you'll get into an accredited registrar post, which is a training post to specialize. Sometimes posts are not easy to get into. Then one will do medical officer time in a different specialty until they are able to get into plastic surgery. And that training takes a period of 4 years. Then you'll write exams, and once you've passed, you register with Health Professions Council of South Africa as a specialist, and you're able to go out and practice as a specialist.
That's like about 10 years.
More than 10 years.
More than 10 years. 6 years plus two years of internship, a year of community service, and 4 years of specialty training. So,
is it worth it?
It is. It is very worth it. It's quite fulfilling.
So I'm studying Nadia like for that long.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it is fulfilling, that it's working. What advice would you give someone considering plastic surgery for the very first time? Aesthetic surgery, that is.
Once you found your surgeon, make sure you verify them. Check with HPCSA if they are qualified, very important. And you need to know what they are specialists in, because not all plastic surgeons specialize in the same thing, right? So You then make an appointment to go and see them, and they will explain the surgery to you, the costs, the complications, the recovery period, and everything about it. And once you can even go for a second opinion if you so wish, if you're not happy with the opinion that you got from your initial surgeon. If the costs, if finances allow, I say go for a second opinion. If you're not happy, that is, right? Then following that, then you can plan the surgery and when it will be done and everything.
Okay. Dr. Khosi, what happens if someone regrets what they've done? So maybe let me ask it this way. How important is it to be sure of what you want to do before you go to a plastic surgeon? Because, I mean, once it's done, it's done. You can't reverse it, can you?
So it's quite important to do your research first and to be comfortable in yourself and to have a reason why you're doing this procedure. And then your surgeon will walk you through what can or cannot be done. Even after, let's say, you don't like your procedure, there's still options that you can do, maybe to improve the outcomes also. But those options will be limited post the procedure. So your initial contact with the physician and also your initial research and also you wanting to do the procedure for yourself and not from outside pressure will likely lead to happier outcomes for you.
Okay. Someone is asking, why is it called plastic surgery? Does it involve plastic?
So the word is Latin derived, which means plasticos. And that means to form. So we essentially, like in the listener that called earlier that said they had their ear cut off, we can form an ear. And that is where the word plastic comes from.
Comes from plastico.
Plasticos, yes.
Which is to form.
Yes.
All right, let's go to some more WhatsApps on 072-702-1702.
Morning, Clement. A question to your plastic surgeons. Great discussion. A friend of mine had breast implants a couple of years ago, and one of the breast implants hardened over the years, and she just recently back from the plastic surgeon who had replaced the implant, a more malleable one, at the cost of 65,000 Rand for one. That's rather steep. The question is just about the cost. That's all. Thanks. I'll listen on the radio.
Oh, thank you.
So with regards to the cost, like as mentioned before, so if you're going for a procedure, this is a different procedure, so it has to be charged accordingly. So as we've mentioned, the hospital has to charge a fee for their premises. Then also you need anesthesia and a surgeon's fee. So that's why sometimes costs are a bit steep, because all the combination of the costs from each one, from the hospital, surgeon, and anesthesia, make the procedure to be costly.
Okay.
Hi Clement, Gilles here. So I cycle and play hockey. And with sports comes a lot of injuries, right? And through the years, we've gotten to know that, certain things you are allowed to ask for a plastic surgeon, maybe to do your stitches on the face, because maybe you need 20 stitches on the face and you don't want a regular scar, but because it's their speciality, I guess, their field of expertise, you would rather have them come in versus a regular doctor. Or when someone has to have like reconstruction done because their sports injury was that bad. What do we say to the medical aid when we request that? Because it's always such a fight. And are we allowed to say, I want a plastic surgeon to do it? Because, I want to look as close to normal as possible after a sports injury.
Yeah.
Yes, most certainly. So when you have been injured, you go to hospital, to the emergency department of the hospital, where you'll be seen by a doctor, and the doctor will advise, right, whether you need to be seen by a plastic surgeon or not. But certainly patients can opt to be sutured or stitched by a plastic surgeon, and the medical aid does cover that.
Okay. Here's another one. Okay, we'll come back to it in a moment. Here's a message that came through. Hi, Clement, and your guest there. As technology expands, have they come up with anything to help with keloids, my C scar is not bad, but the keloid came back. How do you deal with those?
There's various ways to manage a keloid. A keloid, for the listeners out there, is a form of an abnormal scar where it grows beyond the borders of the incision that was made during the surgery. But they can also result due to pimple formation as well. So there's various ways that a keloid can be managed, and a qualified plastic surgeon will be able to advise the various ways in which they can manage the keloid, surgical and non-surgical modalities that can be employed to manage the keloid.
Yeah. Kuliso says, please can you ask the doctors what they think about the trend of people going to Turkey for surgery? What impact has it had on the South African industry?
So the impact... I'm going to start with this. Going to Turkey, so when patients go to Turkey, so they do an operation, then they come back. So they don't have proper post-op management. So they just send them back without proper post. So complication can arise. And unfortunately, some have occurred where complications do arise. And now, once the complications arise, you are in South Africa, you don't know where to go. Now you have to start from scratch again and manage the complication that Turkey would have managed. So we have properly qualified plastic surgeons that they don't need to go overseas. I think our expertise in South Africa are up to date with everyone in the world. So people don't have to go to overseas.
Okay, but what is it about Turkey though? Is it cheaper there from your assessment?
It is considered to be cheaper.
It's considered to be cheaper?
Yes.
But you're still paying for your flights.
You're still paying for your flights, your accommodation, and the procedure itself.
So it's not that they're doing stuff there that we can do here?
No.
Definitely not. They're very capable.
Yeah.
Good morning, Clement and the team.
What is done to
I might have missed this, but can I please ask? I heard the doctor saying that children are born without ears. I have a cousin of mine who has a child, is now 6 years old, still no ear on the left side. What's the proper procedure to do? And I heard that there's artificials and all that, but now I need to understand, if we go for the artificial route, does that mean each and every year as the child is growing is supposed to have a procedure, or is there a more permanent procedure that when the child is growing, also the ear is growing with the child? Thank you so much.
Thanks.
So with ear reconstruction, once the patient has been seen by the plastic surgeon, they will discuss the pros and cons of the surgery. That also includes the ideal time to perform the surgery. And definitely with ear reconstruction, there is an ideal time to perform the surgery, and the different modalities will be discussed with the parents in this case, because the patient is still a minor, and the parents are the ones who will give consent as to what they think is best for their child at that point in time.
Okay. Let me take a last one on the WhatsApp line. Hi, Clement. I want to find out why breast augmentation is more expensive than breast reduction, especially considering that reduction can be more for health reasons. Is there a reason?
So augmentation, basically, they consider it as a cosmetic procedure. So it's not covered under medical aid. And then number two, you also have to pay for the implants. So that's what makes it a bit more expensive.
Okay. Peter, you're calling us from Johannesburg. Good morning.
Good morning, Bongani. I'd just like to phone in and compliment the staff at Ellen Joseph Hospital. I had facial surgery for cancer of the right upper lip, reconstructive surgery, very successful, and I'd like to compliment the staff for the excellent treatment during and after the procedure.
That's amazing. Thanks for calling us, Tabucho. Oh, sorry, Peter in Johannesburg. I'm joking, Peter. Gabriela says, Clement, can you please ask your guests about body, is it contouring for a thigh? My wife has a post-traumatic seroma of her left thigh. That's a message there from Anonymous. I don't know what that is.
So a seroma is fluid collection that happens usually after a surgical procedure. So they will need to be seen by a plastic surgeon to determine the cause and the severity of the seroma and to plan the ideal surgery once investigations have been done to determine whether it is actually a seroma or not, because they may think it's a seroma whilst it's something else.
Yeah.
So that forms part of their assessment. That's why they need to be seen by a specialist.
Yeah.
And once they've determined that it is a seroma, there's various ways of managing it. The patient might need to be taken to theater, or it can be drained in non-surgical ways. Yeah.
Are you guys excited about like future developments or innovations? Someone actually tweeted me earlier and said, in future we're going to get to a point where they can like install and build a six-pack for you. Are we ever going to get there? You think we will?
No.
That is really sad. Guys, thank you so much for coming through. This has been so insightful. Dr. Tato Khosi, plastic surgeon, and Dr. Leritlechi Maditsi, who is also a plastic and reconstructive surgeon. Thanks for making time for us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Listeners.
30 minutes before 11 o'clock.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays
12 to 1.
It was alleged that George was removed from his cabinet position under questionable circumstances. Steenhuisen was this week cleared of misappropriating party funds, an allegation made by George. And this week it was announced that a preliminary investigation led by Dennis Breitenbach cleared Steenhuisen. Both men still facing a disciplinary inquiry into whether they breached the party's federal constitution by bringing the party into disrepute. Now George has just quit the DA live on air.
The Midday Report
With Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
Supercharge your business productivity with Moloi Innovative Solutions. We bring the most highly customized and cost-effective IT infrastructure to your fingertips. Whether it's desktop and server support, cloud services or hardware, software and printer procurement, our dynamic team makes sure that you have the tech that resonates with you. Moloi Innovative Solutions. Experience at its best. Get to moloiis.co.za for more.
Let's hear from Shemaine, owner of Vovotello Linwood, why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance.
I wish we had switched sooner. Not only was it quick and easy, but also gave us more favourable premiums.
For restaurants, pharmacies, and all other businesses. Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. An Ethiopian national facing 12 counts of kidnapping is appearing before the Boyson's Magistrates Court for a bail application. The 47-year-old man was arrested last Thursday in Malbatten after a high-speed chase with police. He's accused of keeping a group of foreign teenage boys who are suspected to be in the country illegally. Jabuli Lembata reports.
The group of men aged between 22 and 33 were found. They were half naked. The Hawks says they cannot rule out the possibility that the Ethiopian man could be part of a human trafficking ring. At his previous court appearance, there was no interpreter who could speak Amharic, so the magistrates postponed the matter, saying it would be a miscarriage of justice if they proceeded with the accused not fully understanding English. Jabuli Lembata, Eyewitness News.
Action SA's mayoral candidate for Ekurhuleni Xolani Khumalo is set to hand himself over to police regarding assault charges against him. Police have reportedly been looking for Khumalo in Katlehong for allegedly beating a man last month. Action SA has released a statement this morning saying on the day of the alleged incident, Khumalo was present during a police operation where a suspected drug dealer's home was raided. This is not the first time that Khumalo has landed himself on the wrong side of the law, as he was previously arrested for the murder of Robert Very, but those charges were later dropped. Action SA National Chairperson Michael Beaumont says Khumalo will hand himself to police on Monday.
This experience is not new for Khumalo, having been charged before. South Africans know that corrupt SAPS members let the criminals free and arrest those who actually fight the crime that they do not. This case is no different.
The former chairperson of a committee tasked with the regulation of the Christian faith says the process being led by the CRL Commission will not succeed. A public fallout is playing out between the CRL's chair, Togom Kwanazi-Qaluva, and the appointed chair of its Section 22 committee, Reverend Musa Qulu. Qulu was appointed to head up the committee that will address the abuse and harmful practices within the Christian community. But yesterday, he resigned, citing a toxic environment allegedly made by Mkwanazi-Qaluva. Reports.
The CRL Commission's chair, Togom Kwanazi-Qaluva, is involved in a public spat with the man she appointed to chair up a committee, and it's all about whether the Christian faith can be regulated. Reverend Musa Qulu held a press briefing yesterday announcing his resignation from the Section 22 committee, saying he was duped into believing that he was going to conduct research on the history of the Christian faith and its ability to self-regulate, but was later drawn into talks about a legislative framework to regulate Christian churches. Now that a draft framework has been compiled, it must ultimately make its way to Parliament, but Qulu does not believe it will pass.
Parliament will know that there will be constitutional challenges, but also, as you may know, even the Portfolio Committee of Cocktau, headed by Dr. Zweli Mkhize, is quite unhappy.
Qulu's made strong allegations against the CRL and Mkwanazi-Qaluva, accusing them of suspicion and hostility against the charismatic and Pentecostal Christians. Eyewitness News.
And U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened to invoke an emergency law that allows the domestic deployments of the military after government agents killed one person and injured another in Minnesota, sparking mass protests. Protesters have denounced the aggressive tactics of Trump's broad-reaching immigration raids in rallies in the Midwestern city, which is a Democratic stronghold. The agents fired their weapons in two separate incidents, wounding a man from Venezuela on Wednesday and killing an American woman last week. Democratic Minnesota Governor Tim Walz accused federal agents of waging a campaign of organized brutality against the people of Minnesota. Gold is trading at $4,616.66 an ounce. The rand is at $16.33 to the dollar, $21.87 to the pound, $18.98 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $66.52 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N12 as well as the R24 West between Edenville Road and the Glulies interchange. There's also queuing traffic in Crown City along the M2 West. This is between the Crown interchange and Main Reef Road.
A cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng with scattered showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 26 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. An Ethiopian national facing 12 counts of kidnapping is expected to appear before the Boyson's Magistrates Court for a bail application.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome. This is the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show, and it's time for
Relationship issues
Relationship talk
on 702.
our relationship and sex feature. This is adult radio, so if there are kids in the car with you, just give them their iPad or send them to the shops if you're listening at home. But this is adult content, so no kids are allowed. We're having a conversation this morning on our relationship and sex feature about something called the sex menu. Do you know anything about a sex menu and how it works? So this is a list of one's sexual preferences, including your likes, your dislikes when it comes to sex, and things to try. Relationship experts say that it can have a positive impact on your sex life and overall relationship, having a sex menu. So one way to work on increasing intimacy is to have a go at creating a sex menu with your significant other. And it's a way to really just let your partner know what you're interested in doing, and then they can see if it suits their taste without rejecting it outright. And that is the thing, right? One of the big problems when it comes to a couple's sex life, it's actually not having a conversation. And this is what's stopping many people from living their best lives in the bedroom, talking about sex, because a lot of people find it hard. And look, it is common to feel nervous or self-conscious when trying to verbalize sexual desires to someone else. Many people struggle with internalized shame when it comes to expressing sexual desires. But we also have this wild misconception that those around us know exactly what they're doing, and they know exactly what we want them to do to us during sex. And the thing is, without discussing these needs, it leaves the door open to disappointment. It leaves the door open to feelings of frustration. Whether you're hooking up with a new partner or you're in a long-term relationship, a sex menu can be a helpful conversation starter and roadmap for your sexual journey, especially for couples who find it challenging to express their sexual desires to another person. So I want to know from you this morning how confident you are in talking about your sexual desires with your partner. Are you the type of person who sits down and you've got a sex menu and you say, babe, this is what I like. This is how I like it. This is what I want you to do. This is what I want to do to you. Do you do that with your partner? I'd like you to share your experiences with us. Do you have a sex menu? Has it worked for you? Does your sex life need a boost, and have you spoken about it? And would you try a sex menu? Because other people try it, but they've got partners that then end up being insecure because the partner then feels like, oh, is that an indication that I'm not satisfying you? So I also get why it can be tricky sometimes to have conversations about this, but that doesn't mean conversations must not take place. What's your experience? Do you believe in having a sex menu? Have you tried it? Does your sex life need a boost? 011-883-0702 is the number to dial. Send your WhatsApps as well on 072-702-1702. Lisa Welsh is an accredited sex educator and certified sex coach who is going to guide us through this conversation. Lisa, so great to chat to you again in this new year. How are you? Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. Great to chat to you too. What a fun, really fun conversation to start off the year with. I can't wait to get into it.
Let's get into it, my friend. So when we talk about a sex menu, what is it like? Is it like a conversation that happens once you sit with your partner and you say, okay, this is on my menu. This is what I would like you to do when we have sex. This is what I want to do to you when we have sex. This is what I enjoy. This is what I don't enjoy. Or is it something that happens regularly where on a Friday night you get home and you say, this is what's on the menu for me for today. I want oral and that's all. Or I want this, I want to do this, and we can stop there. How does it work when we talk about a sex menu? What exactly are we talking about?
Oh, it's so great. This is one of my top tips when it comes to relationships. So a sex menu is essentially a shared list of intimacy options. So it's not just one list. It can be a list of Clement's favorites, like Clement's favorite menu. It can be, your partner's favorite menu, but it's something that you and your partner have previously agreed on together. So it's like a collaboration. It is something that changes over time, but while these lists and these menus are super helpful, it's the conversation that makes them happen that is even more valuable to the relationship, because it turns that question of, shall we have sex or shall we get it on, baby, which can be so high pressure, into something more clear, like a specific invitation. Like, do you feel like the burger menu tonight? Or how about something a little bit more in depth? Maybe we're going to go full on Italian and have a starter and a bottle of wine. So we can use those kinds of food euphemisms to explain what it's like. You can have a simple menu, you can have a kinky menu, you can have a 20-minute menu and a 1-hour menu. It just reduces pressure. It reduces the awkwardness. Like, say your partner says they really feel like having sex tonight, and you're like, oh, I'm not really in the mood for what you think they need. But instead, if you could think, well, maybe I'm open to the light menu, which includes a bit of kissing, a bit of touching, it just makes it easier. It makes initiating sex easier, which we'll talk more about. It makes saying yes to intimacy more easy, which we'll talk about. And it just often results in people having more sex, which is epic.
Doesn't that take away from the spontaneity? Is that the word? Spontaneity. Yeah. So, because some people maybe will say, yeah, but I just want sex to be spontaneous with my partner, as opposed to like, now we must, sit down and say, ooh, what do you feel like today? What kind of sex do you feel like having? What do you want me to do? What do you want to do? So what do you say to someone who says, doesn't that take away that spontaneity that sort of makes things interesting during sex?
I would ask them what it's like living in a Hollywood movie. Because spontaneous sex just isn't realistic. It really isn't. We do look back and think, remember when sex was so spontaneous? How spontaneous really was it? It just usually at the beginning of our relationships, we put a lot of emphasis on planning for sex, thinking about sex, being ready for sex, making sure the logistics are in place. Maybe there's no kids then.
I think we've watched a lot of movies, Lisa, because in the movies, it's in the car, it's at the office, it's just like, there's no planning, there's no logistical arrangements, nothing like that.
Yeah, exactly. In real life, we have other responsibilities, other priorities, to be honest, things taking our energy. And so being spontaneous is not realistic. It truly isn't. We need to just move on from that idea, which, interestingly, the more you have sex menus, the more spontaneous it can become, because you are more in sync with one another. At least you've had the conversations about what you're into in any given moment. Like, you can have a sex menu for in the car or in the office, where you know that, hey, we're in the office. I'm happy to have a quick fumble up against the wall, for example, because you've already had that conversation. So it's just being real about what we can be available for at different times. Say there's like end of month, it's highly stressful at work, then maybe there's an end of month menu, which is actually spending time, eye gazing, watching a movie and a massage. Or you could have a ovulation week menu, which includes, get out the handcuffs and the whip. So it's being real about ourselves as individuals, our context of our relationship, and what actually works for us, like what turns us on, what are we available for in that moment.
Yeah. So what's the best way then to initiate sex without necessarily being too formal and, do it in a structured way where you say to someone, hey, please note we will be having sex later today when you get home? That's boring. So what are the other ways you can do it in a way that sends the message that it's going down tonight or tomorrow without necessarily being too formal about it?
Well, let me just say, receiving an email saying, please note, we will be having sex tonight at 7, that might do it for some people.
Really?
They might be like, oh, I love it when you speak so professionally to me. But the cool thing about the menus is that it allows you to invite your partner, because an initiating sex is scary because of the rejection, the potential rejection. If you just say, hey, I'm really in the mood, then usually your partner will have a knee-jerk reaction. Are they in the mood right now? No, sorry, I'm not in the mood. And from what we've spoken about before, we know that people have spontaneous desire where they suddenly feel in the mood. And other people, about 50% of people, have a responsive desire. They need to be warmed up to sex. They don't feel in the mood right now. And so they are more likely to say no to, shall we have sex, than instead to, what would you feel open to tonight? I'm really keen to connect with you, to have some intimate time. What do you feel open to? And they might think, oh, I'd really love the sensual menu that we agreed on. And then who knows what can happen from there? Because having your menu with your appetizer, main course, dessert, you don't have to stick to it. There's no law, but that's just an invitation. That's just your inspiration. It can change direction halfway through. You could say no halfway through, of course, or you could say, actually, now I'm ready for the other menu that we had on the back burner. So it just allows you to initiate with less pressure on you for someone saying no to you, because you're not just saying, do you want sex? And they're going to say yes or no. Instead, you're saying, let's have a connection. And that person can think about it. Okay, what am I available for?
Yeah. Okay. In fact, let's broaden that question and ask the listeners for their inputs here. How does your partner initiate sex with you? Why don't you give us a call on 011-883-0702. Send a WhatsApp on 0727021702. I've got some of your messages coming through. I'll get to them in a moment. But I want to add this question. How do you initiate sex with your partner? And how does your partner initiate sex with you? Is it something you really like, or is it like the boring way? Does your partner tell you, hey, get ready? Or are you a type that says, get ready tonight at 7 p.m. it's going down? Or have you found your rhythm, your mojo, where you know that when he starts sending you juicy messages while you're in the office and he tells you that he can't wait to do things to you, or you find flowers in the office and the card says something that suggests that it's going down. How do you do it? And do you appreciate it like that? Or is it like boring where, you get into bed and, they start touching you and you turn around and let's go? 011-883-0702. You can send your WhatsApps as well on 0727021702. In fact, let's start with some of your WhatsApp voice notes.
And welcome back to the new year. It's my first time listening this year. Neo from Pretoria. Clement, I dated someone. We never really had a sex menu, but whenever we're together, we'd explore different positions, different options, or whether it's oral or penetration, but we've never believed in the menu. But that actually sounds good if you've got somebody who's willing to talk about it. Like my current one, she doesn't say anything. Sometimes you want to flip her over and then she turns right back. Thanks for a great show. Bye.
Okay, so
brilliant.
Yeah. So exploring is that also cool? I mean, for some people, Lisa, don't want to. They don't like to talk about it like that, but that they are explorative. So when they meet, it's gonna be fire.
I think a lot of people have that, but they don't really want to talk about it. It feels awkward, but they want to just explore. But then in that case, I would really encourage people to talk about it afterwards, what worked and what didn't work. Because then from that, in the portion of sex, which is aftercare, you can craft a menu based on what you enjoyed. Like, we explored that today. I really enjoyed it. Perhaps we could bring more of that into the bedroom, or perhaps we could take it a step further and try this as well. You could add in toys to your menu. So it doesn't have to be, if you feel really uncomfortable sitting down and doing this activity together, then you could do it in a more kind of fluid way. But the actual act of sitting down, it can be quite playful. It can be like a date in itself. You can start with a yes, no, maybe list that I heard you mention in the beginning of the show, which was you have a whole list of activities and, separately you decide if you want to, if this is on your yes list, if it's on your maybe list or your no list. And when you bring those lists together, you can take those things that are yes and build your menus out of that. So there's a couple of different tools. Some people might just prefer doing just the list. You might highlight things that are appetizers. These are called appetizers that we like. Maybe you think, okay, these things could go on our kinky list if you want a kinky list. So there's no right, there's no one right way of doing it. It has to work for the individual couple. If they don't want to write it down and they just want to explore and see how it goes, then that's cool too.
Yeah. Another message on the WhatsApp line says, "Hi Clement, my perception around talking about sex and its pleasure was shifted when my partner told me that the verbalization of my satisfaction is my responsibility and not his. And everything has changed ever since. We don't have a menu, but that does sound like something we'd both be open to exploring." Yeah, perfect. Anonymous, go ahead and explore that. That's true, right, Lisa? I mean,
definitely.
You have to verbalize your satisfaction or lack thereof. You can't expect that, the person must see
courage.
because you didn't climax. So you have to talk about it.
Definitely. And I'm so proud of that anonymous caller for saying that, because it takes huge courage to say, actually, yeah, that was fun, but no, it didn't it didn't shoot the lights out for me. Obviously saying it in a different way than that. But it takes courage to admit that, okay, there are things that could be improved. But it's worth it. This is a worthwhile investment in your time as a couple. If sex is something that matters to both of you, it is worth having these conversations and making it amazing. Who knows what pleasure potential is lying in wait for us to uncover?
What about the shame when it comes to expressing your sexual desires? And I mean, there's a whole context with that. Maybe it's our social conditioning or just a poor sex education that gets in the way of expressing that desire. But there are people who just have shame to express that. And I mean, I've had many conversations over the last 5 years on this show, and when we have this, sex feature, and sometimes you've got women who call and say, when I try to put on the sex menu, perhaps like something like, I don't know, like oral sex, and I ask my husband to go down on me, the husband will say, how dare you? Where did you learn that from? Like, that is, I'm not willing to do that. So yeah, there's shame sometimes, but also especially some women out there are scared to express what they would like their husbands or partners to do to them because they're scared they're going to be seen as, that B word that they often use.
Absolutely. That's such a great perspective to bring to the conversation. It's very valid. So what I would say is start slowly and build the trust over time. Start with a very simple menu. Start with something like, kissing and cuddling, and then we're moving on to a little bit of light touching before we move into the main act, for example. But starting to talk about what felt good and other things to bring in can be done gently and just step by step. That's a great way to test the water and see how your partner reacts to those kinds of conversations. And it is a huge shame if your partner is really having negative reactions to these kinds of conversations. Then it could be worthwhile looking for additional support in the form of, a sex therapist, for example. I know not everybody is open to that either. But I do want to say that everybody's desires are valid and worthy and nothing to be ashamed of. I know it's easier said than done, but we are all, as adults, we have every right to explore things that feel good to us in a way that is healthy. Even if our partner is completely closed to it, there are ways that we can still explore in a solo way as well, as long as it works within your moral value system. I'm talking about individual solo play menus, like masturbation menus for people who are unpartnered, for example, people who are solo who are listening. You can have a menu of things that you decide to try on your own, because that can also start to follow a script and be quite boring, be quite repetitive. So a menu is a way of keeping things fresh. It doesn't necessarily have to be out there and include things that make you or your partner uncomfortable. But over time, as you start to become more comfortable together speaking about these things, then perhaps you can feel the courage and you've built a safe enough space to talk about other things that might push the edges and boundaries of your situation.
So does the sex menu also include feedback, or is that a completely separate conversation? Because I find that
I think the best.
Yeah, I found that in the past when no worries, Lisa. In the past when when we've had these chats, even with you, like there are some women who will call us and say, yeah, like I don't like it when my partner does this, or when he does this in bed. But they've never necessarily told them, but they're also scared to tell them because they don't know how it's going to land. Like when you tell your partner that I don't like how you use your fingers when we are having sex. And maybe they may take it as, oh, you're saying I don't satisfy you. So how do you, is the sex menu also including that level of feedback, or that's a separate conversation?
For me, the best menus definitely include that level of feedback as well. So imagine if you have the appetizer, which is the warm up, you have the main course and the dessert. Well, then cleaning the dishes is like the feedback. This is the aftercare. Maybe you take a shower together. You speak about what worked and what didn't work. And as with all relationship conversations and difficult conversations, it's how you have those talks, how you frame them. Talk about what worked. If, for example, being specific about, I didn't like the way you used your fingers, you could say, it really turns me on when you are slow with your touch, or when you use a lighter touch, or I really loved it when you curled your fingers this way. So you're finding specific things you did like, so that you're not focusing on the negative, because all of us tend to carry some kind of insecurity about sex, and especially men, when it comes to pleasuring women, it's like a bit of a mystery. So they would probably want to hear from you. But yes, people are sensitive about being told, no, that didn't work, or I didn't like it when you did that. So another suggestion for those situations is to include on the menu mutual masturbation, where you're showing how you like to be touched. Have a menu which is like a show and tell menu, where you watch each other pleasuring yourselves so that you can learn about each other. So there's ways of thinking about how can we give that feedback in a way that can be received well.
Yeah. There are many people that will say, I don't even know what I'm into. So how does a sex menu then help with that self-discovery?
You're right. Loads of people don't know what they're into because the options can seem so endless. And at the end of the day, it's often quicker to fall back to the typical script of what we always do, the same position and the same, foreplay, if there is any, that same kind of thing that we just all do. That's the default. So how can you discover what you like? Why not make the time and effort to give it a try? And that's why something like the yes, no, maybe list comes in, because that is a list of so many different things you may not have thought about, or maybe you read up on once, or maybe you heard it once on your show, Clement. And people maybe have a little bit of curiosity about that. Perhaps when they think about it, yes, I actually would like to try pegging, for example, or maybe I would like to include a vibrator. So you go through this list. You can do it on your own, and you just put yes, no, or maybe, as I said earlier, but it's simple, but it gives you like all of the options laid out, or a lot of options. That's a great starting place. From there, it's like a bucket list for sex. What would you like to try? And it doesn't remain the same, because over time, our desires change, maybe our comfort levels change. And so we think, now that we've tried all of these things and these positions, maybe I'm willing to try something else. So you don't have to know what you like, because even if you try something, you put a new flavor on the menu. Once you taste it, maybe you decide, no, that's not for me. It's okay to say no. 100% consent is always important. So if you try this thing and, 1 second into it, you're like, oh, no. Or maybe you do it, and then afterwards you think, okay, thanks for trying that, but that's not for me. That's now a no on my list. So it's collaborative, it's ever evolving, and it's really the only way you can truly know what you like. The only way to truly be able to consent to something is by knowing how it feels, So I think it's a great tool for people who want to explore their horizons, expand their sexual repertoire, maybe add a couple of kinky things or new things to the menu. Without too much pressure. You could do one thing at a time.
Okay. And after the headlines, I want us to talk about how you balance that out between, because you said if you don't like it, you can stop. But there's a message we got here from Anonymous who says, a woman must not say that I must go down on her, but she must go down on me. So if someone says, but I don't like that, I really don't like going down on you, but that's something that you really want them to do, like how do you then balance those? Because of course there's some things you're not gonna like, but that may be like something that your partner really appreciates. So we'll touch on that after the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. We're talking about a sex menu on our relationship and sex feature. It's adult radio, as we've said in the beginning of the segment. No kids are allowed. Do you have a sex menu? Do you talk with your partner about how you want to have sex with them? And how do you initiate sex? Is it more of sending a text, or do you send flowers, or is it a matter of just getting into bed, start touching, and it's a regular thing and you already know how it's gonna go? 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. And do you give your partner feedback after sex? It doesn't have to happen immediately. It could happen at a later stage or during the time when you talk about what you like, what you don't like, and how do they take it. We'll start with your calls and WhatsApps after the headlines. It's 11:31. Maki, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. The suspected mastermind behind the Parapara burglary allegedly bought his girlfriend a Mercedes-Benz worth R500,000 with the stolen US dollars from President Cyril Ramaphosa's farm. Today, the ex-girlfriend of accused number one, Emanuela David, testified virtually at the Modimolle Regional Court in Limpopo. David, along with siblings Froliana and Ndilinasha Joseph, faced charges of breaking and entering into the Parapara farm and stealing $580,000 US in cash. In the Western Cape, mopping up operations are underway in McGregor after firefighters contained the blaze on Retreat Farm that broke out earlier this week. In Franschhoek, firefighting efforts have been scaled down after downpours helped contain week-long flames, while in Denuen, relief efforts are continuing a week after devastating fire tore through the Site 5 informal settlement and left thousands of people displaced and in urgent need of support. And in Australia, authorities have urged citizens to be on high alert for flash floods and dangerous bushfires after flash floods swept cars away into the sea. According to reports, a record 186 millimeters fell in the 24-hour to earlier this morning in one spot, and disaster teams say the fires have so far destroyed 289 homes and damaged another 18. Those are the headlines. This Eyewitness News and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by South African Airways. It's nearly time to head back to university, so why hit the road when you can fly? Book at flysaa.com now. Amo?
Well, Clement, we've got delays on the N12 as well as the R24 West between Edenville Road and the Kilulis interchange. Expect about a 15-minute hold up there. If you are leaving OR Tambo Airport at this particular moment, it could take you about 20 minutes to get towards Germiston. And then if you're traveling on the Mike 1 North, we've got roadworks taking place right after Boyson's Road, about a 10-minute hold up there. And they are causing delays coming out of Boyson's Road, so please be on the lookout. And then traveling in Crown City, we've got delays on the M2 West between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road. Main Reef Road in itself is heavily backed up between the M2 and Albertina Sisulu Road. And then traffic lights are still out of order in Sandton at the M1 and Greyston. They're also out in the city of Tshwane Centurion. This is along the R101 and Brakfontein Road. Speaking of the city of Tshwane, we've got delays reported in Fountains Valley along the N14 South approaching Euphus Road. Please be on the lookout there and anticipate about a 20-minute hold-up. More updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Getting ready for university? Let South African Airways take the pressure out of your travel. Enjoy all-inclusive one-way fares from Johannesburg to Durban from 690 Rand, from Johannesburg to Gqeberha from 655 Rand, and from Johannesburg to Cape Town from 1,144 Rand. Plus, pack more of what you need with 2 checked bags instead of 1. On sale until the 12th of February. Travel by the 12th of Feb 2026. Book now at flysaa.com. T's and C's apply.
Mzansi, Powerball has reached a mega 165 million rand estimated jackpot this Friday. That's one of the highest jackpots to hit the country. Play Powerball for an estimated 165 million rand jackpot today for your chance at greatness. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529 hash for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. eTuba is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable. You receive up to 745,000 rand worth of legal services per year. Our range of plans include cover for you, your spouse, children, and extended family. Plans include cover for civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Whether it's protection orders, gender-based violence, uncontested divorce, or poor service, your Clientele Legal lawyer will be there to assist you. Our services are convenient. Simply pick up the phone and call your lawyer or send us an email and we'll get back to you. All plans include a bail benefit of up to 5,000 rand and we'll go to the police station and pay it for you. Plus, Clientele Legal offers you 24-hour telephonic legal advice. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Brush, stroke, paint, color, protect, and admire. From roof paint to exterior textures and interior silk, Warrior Paints has it all. The product range and stylish colors are amazing. And what's more, Warrior Paints has crushed prices for incredible savings. Enjoy that good old-fashioned personal service you deserve. For price, quality, variety, and service, Warrior Paints is street ahead. Warrior Paints, affordable, lasting, luxury.
Are you one of our loyal listeners? Did you tune in over the holidays while we were off recharging? And how was it? We would like to hear from you. Simply send us your feedback to contact@702.co.za. Or better still, you can do it in person. How about you come visit us next week, Friday, on the 23rd? We'll be hosting a group of our listeners. They'll be visiting 702 here at lunchtime. We'll take you on a tour of our lovely building and show you our studios. To book your seat, simply send us an email to contact@702.co.za.
Relationship issues?
Relationship talk.
On 702.
It's 23 before 12 o'clock on our relationship and sex feature. We are discussing a sex menu. And I'm glad to hear, in fact, from some of the WhatsApps and tweets, some of you who are considering it as something that makes it easier to at least have a conversation with your partner to avoid, rejection, because it's more, what do you like? What do you prefer? What do you enjoy? Those are the things you talk about. That's what we're discussing on our relationship and sex feature this morning. It's adult radio, so a reminder that kids are not allowed. What are your sexual desires and how easily do you communicate those with your partner? Or do you find it difficult to communicate your sexual desires with your partner? And have you tried a sex menu, the way that Lisa has explained it, where you sit down with your partner and you talk about, what really your sexual preferences are, or what you really like, or what you don't like during sex, or the things that you'd like to try? 011-883-0702. Let's start with your WhatsApps on 072-702-1702.
Like the idea of a sex menu. I think it helps people avoid getting rejected. So you're not rejecting the person trying something new, you're rejecting an item on the menu. So nobody's feelings get hurt as well, because it's always very sensitive position to be in.
So let me ask you, Lisa, to come in there, because this is actually linked to what I said before the headlines, which is where I said we'll pick up from. What happens when you are discussing the sex menu, your partner puts on their menu something you are uncomfortable with, or you put on your menu with something that your partner is uncomfortable to do with you? And I used an example of oral sex because there's a message that came through on the WhatsApp line. Anonymous who says that what he likes, well, this is what's on his menu, is that, he can go down on his partner, perform oral sex on their partner, but he doesn't want the partner to perform oral sex on him. But what if that is what the partner desires and what the partner really wants to do with him? Where do you strike the balance?
Yeah, it's a good question. And it's one that I think a lot of people will be wondering. But the bottom line always has to be nobody has to do something they don't want to do. Like consent is essential. That's just the foundation of this conversation. So there should be nothing on the menus that somebody is a no to. If you're absolutely not open to doing it, it shouldn't be on the menu, right? That's the first thing. If there's something that you're like, oh, it's not my favorite, but I know you like it and I would be willing to do it. Okay, that's a completely different thing. So maybe you would be willing to do it under certain contexts with a certain amount of space. So maybe you have a menu where your partner is the king for the day, right? I've heard a few people using this term, a king for the day or a queen for the day. This menu is all about you and the things you like. And yes, I would be willing to do them in certain contexts. So yes, tonight you can be the king for the day, right? So in those situations, there has to be a conversation about not trying to persuade somebody to do something they don't want to do. It doesn't matter if you think it's fair or not fair. If your partner does not want to give oral, then unfortunately you can't force them. Not unfortunately, you just can't force them. However, if you really love the feeling of oral, you really want to have that more in your life, there are toys and tools that can actually emulate that. So are there other ways that you can get those needs met, right? It's thinking outside of the box. Again, we're back to real life. We're not in a Hollywood movie. If this is something your partner is not willing to do, what else could you do to bring that in? But there are some excellent toys for oral sex that are available now. The feeling of oral sex that could perhaps be brought into a menu, right? Or perhaps brought into your solo time. So it's being real with what are people's boundaries. We're not trying to break them. What we can do is, what are people's maybes? How can we explore them? How can we make it work so that everybody's needs are met, so that everybody's desires are satisfied as much as possible within a comfortable limit, and so that nobody is pressured to do something that it just isn't on their list, right? So it's not a perfect world. For some people, if your partner won't give you oral sex, that could be a deal breaker that actually ends the relationship. Like for some people, it is as simple as that. For others, there are compromises. So there's not one particular answer. But again, the benefit of the menu is that it brings these conversations up, and we can start to talk about how important those items on the menu are to one another.
Anonymous on the WhatsApp line says, Clement, the sex menu should be like the Constitution and be an ever-evolving concept in a relationship. Sometimes you'll have to convince the other party until a place of commonality is reached. That's a message there from Anonymous. So I want to know, Lisa, if it would work or help to also, externalize your desire by putting them on paper or a list, sometimes. Could that be easier than saying it out loud? And do you think that still sort of works? Or is a conversation the only thing that works when we're talking about a sex menu?
You could definitely start by putting it on paper, a shared Google sheet if you're that way inclined, because sometimes it actually feels easier to write it down instead of speaking it out loud. Sometimes speaking it out loud is the toughest thing because you don't want to say all those words that make you blush, So a WhatsApp chat, you could have a very own WhatsApp chat, like a WhatsApp, a group with just the two of you, or if there are more partners, or an email thread. You just don't want it to fall into the wrong hands. There's no wrong or right way of having the discussion. But if you can build up to an actual verbal communication, that is great. Maybe a mixture of the two, maybe doing the yes, no, maybe list and having that in paper, bringing it to a verbal conversation where you don't have to say, yeah, I really feel like being pegged, but actually it's just on your list. So it's opened up for you, otherwise, there are people like sex therapists, psychotherapists, and coaches who can help you to navigate those tricky conversations too.
Another one, Anonymous Clement, my husband is so prim and proper. It is difficult to raise the topic of sex. How do I breach this hurdle? He barely initiates sex, and I'm a tad unsure of initiating it. And I tried recently, and he seems to enjoy it. Okay, so yeah, she says the husband doesn't really initiate sex, but she does, and he somehow gets to enjoy it. Tell me about that, because I've had someone call in before here on the show, on the segment, and say in fact, it was the husband who called it and said, I enjoy it when she always initiates, because I love feeling wanted. I love feeling like she wants me, like a piece of me. But the disadvantage is that your wife or your partner on the other side may very well want to feel that way too. They want to feel wanted as well. They want you to also say to them, I want you tonight. So you can respond to this listener who says she often finds that she's the one always initiating. The husband never does, but the husband really, really, really enjoys.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Everybody likes to feel desired and wanted. And so that's the problem when there's always falls on one person to do the initiating. It's always one person initiating. They're the ones taking the risk of being rejected. They're the ones who never get to feel like they're desired. And that's why it's really important that both parties initiate. It's actually it's a really essential thing. Both parties need to initiate. Both carry the responsibility of starting this important thing, like showing interest in intimacy, even if they have what we think of as a lower libido. It's still important that they initiate. And that's like a perfect reason for using a sex menu, because it takes away the pressure of saying, I'm in the mood for sex, or would you like sex? Instead, it's saying, I would love to connect with you. How do you feel about this tonight? You know, like as we said, yes, it's not spontaneous, but that's by the by. Having this caller saying that she's always initiating with her partner and he's really enjoying that, great. Let him know. Like, it would really feel so good to hear when you want to connect with me. It would make me feel so desired if you told me when you would like some intimacy with me. So in that situation where you have one person initiating a lot, or one person who has a lower libido than the other, then the menu just widens that definition of intimacy, so that one person isn't forced into that position where they feel like they're doing all the work, or that there's this all or nothing choice. It just helps to take away the pressure, and it often results in far more intimate connection with a couple.
Okay. Roger and TT, I'll start with your calls after the break. It's 12 minutes before 12.
Okay, truck 7, that has 0 warning lights. Truck 8, it's just been serviced. I guess we're running like a well-oiled machine. Where would I be without MyWay's comprehensive cover for my vans and trucks? Plus, cover for my customers' orders with goods and transit insurance. I guess we'll never know.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. MyWay is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. MyWay. Live your way.
The Dis-Chem Better Rewards program is here, and every time you shop and save, you're also giving back. Each time you swipe, not only are you rewarded, but a percentage of your purchase is donated to the Dis-Chem Foundation to support communities in need. So why wait? Sign up to become a Better Rewards member today and support with every swipe. Dis-Chem Foundation, caring for the community.
What's with the camouflage, Dorf? I'm going hunting. Just me, nature, and my most underrated off-roader, a rental car.
Hunting? You could fit that little car in your backpack, Dorf.
I sit in the driver's seat. Baggage at the back, chairs on the roof. The kudu is going to get in and strap its own seatbelt, Savvy.
Could do with more legroom, Dorf. Go hunt for a new 4x4 at WeBuy Cars. They got great deals.
Oh, shot, Savvy.
Don't be Dorf, be savvy. We buy cars geared for that big trip, geared for you.
Relationship issues?
Relationship Talk
on 702.
10 minutes before 12 o'clock. Straight to your calls now. Roger, let's start with you. You're in Randburg. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement.
It's Adam.
Clement, my late wife and I never had sex. We had love. And yes, we tried different things, and we made love absolutely looking forward and different things, different styles. But there's one particular time, somewhere we saw this about having cream and a cherry on top. Well, I tell you, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So that just a fun thing. So yes, you make your sex life a joyful one. That both of you have the same feeling about each other. This is the most important part. You never have a headache, and if you don't like something, you talk about it. You just don't. No, I don't feel like I've got a headache. Not in the mood, whatever the case may be. It just breaks everything down, unfortunately.
How long were you guys married for, Roger?
8.5 years after my second marriage.
Okay.
And I was 74, she was 72.
Okay.
So,
that's
I think I spoke to you once before. I'm the oak that has 6 on the yellow pages. Do you let your fingers do the walking?
Let your fingers do the walking. Roger, if you don't mind me asking, when you said cherry and cream, is that something you tried with your late wife?
Yes.
So
just for the we thought, I think.
Were you applying it anywhere? The cream?
Sorry?
Were you applying the cream anywhere, or were you feeding each other cream and cherries?
No. The cherry was on top of the penis.
Oh,
And
okay, I see.
This is where it comes from.
Oh, I see.
So it was just a major laugh.
Yeah, I see. Roger, thank you. Thank you for the call. Yeah, sounds like Roger still has, his mojo, hey?
Oh, Roger's an inspiration to many, I think. That's wonderful.
Definitely. Titi, you calling from Pretoria. Good morning.
Clement, how are you?
Sharp, man. How are you?
I want to be like Roger when I grow up.
Yeah, don't we all?
I'm going to speak. I'm representing me and people that are somewhat like me. As men that are providers and main providers, right? We because we go out there and make all the cheese and bring it home, right? We as a form of appreciation love it when the initiation comes from our wives, because it has this thing of I appreciate you, as opposed to we know that we also it is a requirement or it's a need for us to also initiate. But most of the time, if it comes from Mossad, it has that thing of Kanyakiwa, and I'm appreciated because I go out there and work, if you know what I mean. And I know we can hear it all the time, and I appreciate you, but also that speaks volumes, if you know what I mean. So from guys like us, like guys who have housewives, right? That's a form of appreciation.
Oh, so your wife is at home, is a housewife?
Yeah. Yes, no, by choice.
Okay.
By choice, yes.
By choice. So I get what you're saying, Titi, because a lot of men call in and say, and because socially the expectation is that a man must be the one that, initiates. That's always been sort of an expectation. For some reason, we socialize like that as men. So, I've had a lot of men who call in and say, we like it when actually my wife or my girlfriend says, I want this, and you just feel wanted.
Yes, and the reason why I put the disclaimer of the main providers, right, it's because maybe some woman might come out and say, yeah, but we both go to work, we're both tired. We both, if you know what I mean, right? So that's why I'm speaking from a position or people who are like me, who are main providers.
I see. Yeah, TT, thank you so much for your call, man. Lisa, so yeah, TT's like, I'm out there working hard for the family. Wife is a stay-at-home wife. I loved feeling appreciated like that.
Well, I think it's great that TT is so open. I hope that he's able to communicate that to his partner in a way that is clear without putting pressure or expectation. He could say, like, it makes me feel so appreciated when you initiate sex. Like, I love the way that you desire me, and it makes me feel valued for all of the hard work I'm doing outside of the home. But where it can be problematic is if it becomes an expectation of, I work all day, therefore you should be initiating sex, right? It didn't sound like that's the tone he was bringing at all, but I just want to verbalize that sex menus can become problematic if we start to say, well, it's on the menu, or you should be doing this, or you should be doing that. It really comes to both of us. There are obviously things that TT's partner does that he appreciates. How would she like him to show that appreciation too? If we're going to have that kind of conversation, then it needs to work both ways. Verbalizing how we feel appreciated and loved is wonderful, because having that tool in our pocket and knowing this is how to make my partner feel loved, great. But not if there's a pressure to do it. I hope that makes sense, the nuance there.
It does, absolutely. Lisa Walsh, sex and pleasure educator, thank you so much for making time for us.
This year, Red Hill School celebrates the achievement of our class of 2025. Our IEB students achieved a record average of 4.3 distinctions per candidate, the strongest results in our school's history. Our international baccalaureate students placed in the top 10% globally, well above the world average. Results like these don't happen by chance. They reflect dedicated students, committed teachers, and families who partner with the school. At Red Hill, excellence is never accidental. It's built together. Visit redhill.co.za for details.
Kick off to glory with Hollywood Bets and Aziz Shege. Be in the game. Go full speed ahead with the epic competition. You stand to win a share of 4 million rand in cash and prizes, including an all-new Toyota Corolla Cross. Bet 10 rand or more on any soccer fixture or fixtures online or at your nearest branch. Live life in the fast lane. Bet now for your chance to score.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Clientele is here to safeguard you and your family with compassion because life happens. Be part of a family that truly cares. Our funeral dignity plans have helped South Africans bury their loved ones with dignity for more than 30 years. Let us help you create a meaningful tribute that honors your life and those of your loved ones. We pay out within 24 hours and you will get double accident cover with a clientele funeral plan. Our plans are affordable. Pick the option that suits your needs. It's easy to apply. No medical examinations and no paperwork. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Coming up on the Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Good morning, Mandy Wiener.
Good morning, Clement.
What's popping?
So we'll have a look at the impact of this Dion George quitting the DA on the DA's prospects into the local government elections. We'll speak to Tony Leon about that. Our reporters are on the ground in Limpopo and in Mpumalanga looking at flooding. 9 people have died.
Devastating.
Yeah, it really is. It's and it's quite severe. The former presidents Thabo Mbeki and Jacob Zuma are attempting to have Judge Sisi Khampepe removed from the TRC inquiry. We'll look at the informal tobacco industry's impact after the decision by British American Tobacco to shut their factory. And it's Friday.
Sports and good things too. So what are we looking forward to? AFCON final? When is that?
AFCON final, yeah.
Oh, so that's the big one, yeah?
I think so. And there's more SA20 and Australian Open starts this weekend.
Australian
Which is a big
Open.
deal in my life.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you went to London and you visited, didn't you? How lucky you are.
I know.
That's what's coming up on the Midday Report with Mandy Wiener. I see Newsroom Africa is reporting that the SANDF is going to be probing that naval exercise that we've been talking about this entire week between Russia, China, and Iran. I'm sure you'll be hearing more about that story throughout the day. as soon as it gets confirmed. But yeah, we have been asking questions about what exactly was the status, particularly of Iran. Did they succeed in asking them to withdraw, or they didn't? And what does that mean? What are the consequences? Thank you for listening to the Friday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. We'll be back with you on Monday between 9 and 12. Have a beautiful weekend, my friends. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Maki Malapo. We begin in Limpopo, where flights in and out of Hoedspruit have resumed after days of disruption caused by flooding across parts of the province. Aviation activities in the area ground to a halt earlier this week due to the province being battered by heavy downpour.